Represento las calles de mi tierra, mi bandera, ay, mi bandera, Puerto Rico y todos los latinos, sonamos donde...
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Sports Jedi Network. What's going on? It's the 3-hour SmackDown, and it just didn't surprise people. It kind of felt like a possible 2026 reset of the board. We got Randy Orton is back in the fold. He made his intentions felt with the title run. Giulia wins the Women's United States Champion. Drew McIntyre kind of burns and crosses the line from professional to personal. And while all that dust is settling, we're going to talk about Raw hits Netflix 1-year anniversary. It's going to be upside down. Stranger things are happening in the WWE, of course. And we saw that from Friday Night SmackDown. Big high stakes NXT and New Year's Evil. AEW embraces the big dynamite chaos each and every Wednesday. And TNA will be closing a chapter on Access TV and launching a new era at AMC. So we're going to talk about that, man. It's just not background wrestling. This is what the industry moving in real time. And let's lock in. Let's go, man. Let's get ready to go. Let's talk about Friday Night SmackDown. I think we got about another day and a half, another 2 days, and we could say the Happy New Year stuff should be done. I'm going to say it 2 more times because we got some guests coming up in the week. And we're going to wish them a Happy New Year when they join us for the live interview. So we're going to say it a couple of times, but for us and a weekly audience, Happy New Year. And we're going to make sure we're going to use the Larry David rule. You can only go a certain amount of days with the Happy New Year. It's enough is enough. So we're going to get ready to go. But again, I wish everyone a Happy New Year. Thank you for joining me this evening with me. I am your host, BX Sports Jedi Kev, whether you follow me on X at Sports Jedi Media or on Instagram, on our Discord channel, or all our different platforms. We know we are locked and loaded, and we always try to give us our thoughts. We are Latinos with wrestling voices, me, Chris, Rain, and all our Sports Jedi crew. All right, let's start with Friday Night SmackDown. Again, the first 3-hour Friday Night SmackDown was live from Buffalo, New York. And of course, The Miz kicks it off. Everyone's like, here's The Miz. I'm not going to lie. I did not have on my bingo card, or I didn't even think about when The Miz came out, who was going to interrupt him. I was thinking it will be a Joe Henry spot. We seen that Joe Henry, The Miz, was working prior to Joe Henry signing with the WWE when they went on that last European tour. Joe Henry accompanied. So I thought we were going to get another ongoing program with The Miz and Joe Henry, whatever the case was, going to interrupt. But no, I don't know where the Viper, Randy Orton, shows up. When I see Randy Orton, I was like, you know what? Good. Everyone was asking and contemplating where was Randy Orton, where has he been on our television in 2025. Now in 2026, we see him first superstar to come out of that curtain to interrupt. And what a pleasant surprise. I know a lot of other podcasters that I've heard and have complained about he should have been brought back at the Rumble, but then you're going to say, okay, should I care? He shows up to the Rumble. All right. You just showed up because you were for the Saudi paycheck, or did you fill out you were part of the talent that needed to be filled out for the roster on the Royal Rumble? I actually like the fact that he came out. He interrupted and he gave the RKO. I know The Miz wanted to go on a long-winded circle that he's the locker room leader. He should have been John Cena's final match, all that good stuff. But Randy Orton coming out, and later on in the show, when we see him makes his intentions clear that he is going after the Undisputed World Champion, after Drew McIntyre and Cody Rhodes settled their differences, he says he's next. I think us as a wrestling community, as a wrestling audience, we are wanting to see a storyline-driven feud with Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes if Drew McIntyre isn't successful. Either way, we would love to see Randy Orton some way, somehow in that Undisputed World title picture. I thought we were left with a little bit dabber of just a little bit into our beaks last year when he took on John Cena. We knew Randy wasn't not going to win and take that title off of John Cena, but it was great to see that one-off, and I think as a Randy Orton fan, as a legacy that Randy Orton fan he is, you want to see him in that title picture. But I don't want to see just because. I want to see Randy Orton with some story behind it. And I have no doubt that Randy Orton will tell that proper story. I have no doubt about it. I'm just worried about the creative SmackDown team. This is a clean slate. This is a total blank canvas. Start of the new year. Now you have 3 hours to entertain us. Go ahead and do it. I thought the opening, Randy Orton coming out. Oh, I did not expect that. I didn't see anyone from the dirt sheets mention Randy Orton's name in Buffalo. They mentioned other talents that were backstage. Some of them came, like I believe 75% of the reported names out there showed on camera tonight or Saturday or Friday night when it happened yesterday. But the other 25 did not show up. We'll leave that to your imagination, which wrestlers did or did not come out. But I enjoyed that opening segment because I see now Randy Orton. He gave us the reason why later on with Cody Rhodes, because he wants that world title picture. Now, this one I did not see. But this one I did not see was Kit Wilson, one half of Pretty Deadly. I don't know where Elton Prince is. I know he was injured. I know that, I know he took some time off because his wife, Kelly Kincaid, had a child, but she has returned back to NXT programming. Elton Prince hasn't. I don't know if Pretty Deadly is disbanded or they're not a tag team. But look, WWE doesn't do much favors with their tag teams, but they could have used a Pretty Deadly tag team, but that is what it is. He had a mystery opponent. Now, I did not see this either coming. See, this is what I enjoy. When I'm watching wrestling and the dirt sheets or the retweeters, copy and pasters don't go out there and re-copy and post and put out their news. I like the genuine surprise. And then it's a wrestling community is a weird community. Oh, and it's a fun, weird, and it has its greats and negatives parts. One thing that bothers me is they attack the fake reactionary podcasters. And some of them do force themselves. You could see that, but we're not here about that. But how you're supposed to expect genuine reaction if you're posting and you're spoiling everything before the show starts, hours before the show starts? You want to let us know that you have some sources? Fine, I get it. And look, do your thing. You got to make money somehow, some way. I'm not hating the game. It's just I wish that's something that I wish in 2026, the spoilers and the genuine reaction of the excitement of a wrestling fan, you caught it. I think a lot of people really did get that. If you see a lot of the reactionary podcasters or a lot of the videos out there on social media, the genuine surprise, and not only by the IWC, but by the wrestling community, the professional wrestling community was so enamored and happy to see none other than Matt Cardona return back to the WWE. You saw the genuine love, respect, admiration. I mean, so many words that I could put out there for Matt Cardona return to the WWE. When he was released, he just didn't stop. He didn't pout. He didn't accept the lemons that were given to him. He went out there and made the most and hustled and sold not just the lemonade, but the best lemonade in the independent scene. He really sugared it up. He really made it sweet. And my goodness, WWE wants that lemonade now under their brand. Great job, Matt Cardona, to see not just the genuine love from everyone in the industry. I actually was so happy for him. I did the watch along and was so genuine surprised. I was surprised for Randy Orton. I was like, and of course, between Randy Orton and the Matt Cardona surprise, you had the women's match, the 8 women's match. I'll get to it. I'll try to stay in chronological order with the event of SmackDown on my notes. But I just wanted to talk about Matt Cardona and that pure, I just come off the gate, little fire, little emotion, and so happy for him. It showed us not just himself, Chelsea Green, always wanted to return back home. If you remember her last Impact Wrestling, because they were in TNA at that time. The Impact TNA Wrestling's last promo when she was leaving the stairs out the door where her and the virtuosa Deonna Purrazzo said, "Chelsea, where are you going?" "I'm going back home." And that meant she was coming back WWE. And Cardona back home. They always strive to want to achieve and get there. And you know what? They got what they wanted. Now, it's great to see those talent on the main stage here in the WWE, motivated, hungry, and with a lot of fanfare. So I can't wait to see where WWE Creative goes with Matt Cardona on Friday nights, where they could use a male babyface in that company right now. If Matt Cardona wants to go the babyface route or the heel, we don't know. For the look of it right now, it looks like it's going to be a babyface. I even mentioned we'd love to see, Chelsea still holds that mixed tag team title with Ethan Page, where even Cardona could be a little bit jealous. They're going to have to address that they're a couple. The way Montez and Bianca, you don't have to put them together. They could still do their own thing in the WWE and acknowledge that they're a husband and wife, like Becky and Seth. It's really fun because in 2026, you see a lot of that blurring of the reality of husband and wives. You have Candice LeRae, Johnny Gargano. You've got so many that maybe they could adopt the mixed tag team titles. Maybe we'll see some mixed tag team titles defended on a SmackDown brand, AAA brand. You don't have to WWE does not have to confiscate and take that title away from AAA. You could have those title defenses on a Friday Night SmackDown for the mixed tag team titles, where they go, and you can actually bring some mixed tags from AAA as well onto SmackDown. It's 3 hours. Give us something different. A little variety, a little different, a little something where we're so people are like, oh, the same mode. And you get people talking, invested. And, some people might say, we didn't ask for it. They didn't ask for it. But there's also, trust me, there's a big audience that wants it, that are asking for it. So hopefully they do that in the near future with the WWE when they set up these, whatever realm they want to go with the mixed tag team with All Ego, Ethan Page, as well, with Matt Cardona being a little jealous, and they could have a storyline. Look, it's time for Ethan Page to be elevated from NXT. He is he's another heel in the 3-hour show that could story tell and get the people to dislike and generate that major heat. So I'm hoping in 2026 they don't have to all come up at one time here. It's only been the first Friday Night SmackDown. I could say, gee, you want to bring everyone up on the very first episode? No. Throughout the course of the year, they could bring that in there for Matt Cardona. Now he could go on that nice babyface run, all that good nostalgic, get it out of the system, do the European tour, when you get back to the United States, road to WrestleMania, whatever the case, you could do that. Or you could have Cardona go down to NXT or AAA. There's so many good stuff. That man is always ready. And I'm glad that he's in the company. And I hope that we get a lot of storytelling going forward. All right, so I know I sandwiched this in between the Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss. They all teamed up in an 8-woman tag, taking on Asuka, Kairi Sane, Nia Jax, and Lash Legend. Match there where it just showcased the 4 ladies, where WWE looks like they're really putting some emphasis on their women tag team titles, on the women tag team division in total, because Monday for Raw, we're having a women tag team title match. Io and Rhea Ripley. I combine those names all the time. And of course, the Kabuki Warriors for those tag team titles. Well, backstage after that match, we get a victory. The babyface gets the win, where we're going to see where they want to give, if Rhea and Io successfully win the tag team championship, Alexa and Flair are the next in line. I don't know if that's going to happen. We'll get to the Monday Night Raw part of the show on there. I'm not going to stick too long on that. They're just showing us they're just strengthening the women's tag team division. Do they need more women tag team division? They could use, if they're not going to separate Sol Ruka and Zarya, then make them a full-blown tag team then. If Zarya isn't going to turn heel, and vice versa, make them a tag team. That's another tag team you can add on to the main roster. We'll see where they go if they want to strengthen the women tag teams. They need more, and they need a variety of different women tag teams. We'll see where that goes. Listen, if they want to bring strength on a Friday night, once in a while, they could bring Las Toxicas from AAA. There's nothing wrong. Why does it always have to be the main roster people? I understand maybe because of a pay issue or money. It has to be with it. But once in a while, you could bring these women tag teams or even an NXT team from time to time to wrestle on a Friday Night SmackDown, part of the storyline, even if it's for a couple 3 Friday nights, in a program. Then you blow that off and you move on. We'll love to see that with some AAA women tag team. Listen, you have to take a look at those ladies. La Toxicas, they could wrestle. They are a good team down in AAA. Maybe the language barrier, then you appoint yourself a manager. This is where I always say in 2026, I will love the art of the manager to reemerge and become something, again, powerful. Back in the 80s, you had Bobby the Brain Heenan. You had the Dr. Style Slick. You had Jimmy Hart. You had Mr. Fuji. You had managers around where there was something important, but most of them were mouthpieces. We'll love to have that here, especially with the English barrier and certain languages. We'll love that, and they'll use it. I don't know if WWE will do that because I don't think they see it as a mouthpiece storyteller. I think they see it as a salary. And I think they're seeing it, why are we going to pay a salary for someone to talk? If they're a performer, they should learn how to talk. I think that's where they come from. But the importance of a manager, a Don Callis, and Paul Heyman, a George the Iceman in TNA, those guys are important. They also bring another level of fun, of heel, of zingers. And I wish we had a little more of that in the WWE. They don't need to flood everyone with a manager. You don't need a manager stable every 2 or 3 of them. You just need maybe 1 or 2 that could get some points across, especially a liaison in AAA. Even look, Dorian. You could even have Dorian. Dorian is the guy who runs El Ojo out in AAA. He commands the English language really well. Have him bring the Toxicas back and forth and add that in the women's tag team division for SmackDown. And then again, they don't have to be part of the roster each and every week. For programs, you could have programs or in and out a different set of AAA women tag teams if they want to go that route for the women's tag team. We'll move on. We'll shift the gears from that. That's my piece on that for the women's for SmackDown going forward. Yes, we talked about the Matt Cardona situation there coming back. Michael Cole, they still got to get the names down. It was the Rough Rider, Radio Silence and his finisher. We'll find out. Remember, I don't know if they're going to stay with the independent or in TNA. It was the Radio Silence, Rough Rider, and WWE. I don't know if he's still. Remember, he's no longer. I'm even more confused. It's Matt Cardona or Zack Ryder? We got the woo. I guess for people to know or remember who he was. I think this in 2026, everyone watches wrestling. If people are tuning in on Friday nights, they are a wrestling fan. I think we have to leave that saying in the past. I don't know if they know who they are. Look, with the amount of information that there is with the way people consume it, either via the web, the social media, you find information. You could learn how to. If you never learn how to sew, you could find on how to sew in the video immediately. People are tuned to information. They watch wrestling, they will know exactly what's going on. I think we got to leave that stereotype back in 2025. They don't think they know who it is. I think everybody knows who Cardona is. Everyone knows that's Chelsea's husband. Even mostly casuals. Maybe I'm in a bubble. But I don't think so. I think everyone knows who Matt Cardona is. If you're a wrestling fan, you're watching, you know Cardona from TNA, you know him from the Indie God, all that stuff. But wasn't that guy? Yes, that's my exact right. He's changed his name. I think we need to stick with Matt Cardona going forward. Great to have him back. Excited with that there. Not only that, the surprises continue. That first hour of Friday Night SmackDown was extremely wow. I didn't expect them to give 3 surprises in a row. We have a Sami Zayn promo. We haven't seen Sami Zayn in a while since he lost his United States title. Last time we saw Sami Zayn was at ringside for the John Cena retirement with his son on his lap. He talked about that. He talked about his son, talking about John Cena's importance. Never seen 17, never going to see him wrestle and all that stuff. And his son asked him, how come and he talked about his accolades in the WWE titles that he won, but never won the world title. And his son asked him why. I mean, he's won none. And it's something that he wants to do. Look, back in July, or even earlier than that, when the Royal Rumble was announced that was going to Saudi Arabia, I know a lot of people had Sami Zayn as the darling to win the Royal Rumble in front of Riyadh, in front of his people in Saudi Arabia or descendant of Muslim descendant for Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn could be your favorite for the Royal Rumble. I don't know if creative is going to do that, because I ask you this, and I say it with all peace and love. Sami Zayn in the main event of a WrestleMania in Las Vegas, does that hit for you? That's why I kind of don't think Sami Zayn is winning the Rumble. Could I see Sami Zayn possibly getting a world title match at the Royal Rumble against, we'll see, against whoever's the world champion? I could see that. I could see Sami Zayn wanting a world title match, and somehow, some way throughout this couple of weeks after the Drew McIntyre, Cody Rhodes match takes place in Germany, could he be the next one in line? Although Randy Orton said he wants next. But again, that's for storytelling and for SmackDown to clear the air out for us to watch, to get us invested in how they get there. But I could see that. I don't see Sami Zayn winning the Royal Rumble, because, again, that's an automatic main event for WrestleMania. And if you're charging all that kind of, and again, no disrespect to Sami Zayn, but the kind of money that they're asking for those seats and tickets, Sami Zayn, your main event for WrestleMania night 1 or 2, is that going to move the needle for you guys? Ask that question as a business aspect. Take your fandom and your love for Sami Zayn and the story. Is it a great story that he needs to win that one title for his son and for himself? It's a great story. It's a phenomenal story. But I don't know if it's going to generate the financial uproar that the WWE wants or the WWE needs to sell and move those tickets. So I asked that question. I ask you always that question. I always make sure that you hear that and make that decision sometimes. Sometimes, yes, we all are fans and we all want to do what I all want to do, put fans. I'm going to give me a minute. I'm going to ask, we're going to get a guest in a second. If I could find how I'm going to send it to you. Samuel, I will send that. I wish you would tell me these things a little early, but no doubt about it. We'll try to get a guest in that's going to join me in a minute. All right. So we'll move on for a second. I'm going to take a quick break. Want to say hello for a moment as I try to get my guest on. What's going on, Delano? Oh my goodness. Salute to you. Happy New Year, friend. Sami Zayn is not a main eventer. Yes, and I guess I want to make sure I acknowledge the chat. And I got to make sure I send this to, right now I'm going to send this to make sure everyone gets in. And I get my guest in and join me in a second. And once I get my guest in, we'll get going. This is the Sports Jedi Network. And we're reviewing, and we will have a guest to have a conversation. This is cool. This is what I like, to have the conversation about what we saw in wrestling. Hopefully the audio for my friend is working well, because it's good to, and this is what it's about. Love having these conversations. And where is this? And once I get that going, we'll get it going. I hate when the computers decide to act slow in real time. All right. We're going to get our guest in for a moment. And once he's in there, we'll continue our talk here for the review on SmackDown and the beginning of the new year for wrestling. And of course, here we go. We're ready to go now. I am ready once our guest arrives here. So Sami Zayn is talking in the middle of the ring and he gets interrupted. Where a gentleman that I've been asking for, where has he been? A gentleman that I have had the honor, the privilege to meet, to spend time outside of the wrestling business, was at his premiere. His YouTube channel premiere that he had a sitcom series. Watch him develop from his NXT 2.0 days as a security guard with the security guard shirt, like all up and coming wrestlers do when they get to the performance center, pull apart, and of course to watch him wrestle Wesley in that kind of like in a boxing match, and watching him at Slammiversary, bamboozled and pretty much trick my world champion, was going to be my world champion, Mike Santana, and turn TNA upside down in Trick Williams. Great to see Trick Williams come out. If you thought Trick Williams was not a star or has any caveat, gravitas, or moxie, you got to hear the crowd at Buffalo, New York. That crowd was going bananas. Whoop that trick. Trick Williams has taken his entrance and put it together with his wrestling together, and this guy is a mega star. Trick Williams have a lot of aura. him helping TNA over the summer, winning the title off of Joe Henry, and what he did for TNA as a TNA World Champion was phenomenally awesome. Getting us invested in Mike Santana's story, and not only that, adding to when Mike Santana was so close to winning it in New York, and then Trick Williams, the way he did, and then continue as champion. And not only that, we were watching TNA actually on CW, and said, you know what, this company TNA should be on a major television platform. Of course, the TNA locker room had a lot to do with it. All those talented men and women in there, as well as Carlos Silva. I'm giving TNA their flowers, but the elevation of that face to help them, along with the characters around that main event scene and the men, totally elevated and really gave us this company needs to be on a major television. Great, perfect storm. The right decision on putting that on Trick Williams. And I was one to be a little hesitant or worried when I didn't see Trick Williams not named in the John Cena's tournament, where this guy, and maybe they didn't want to give him too much. Maybe he was the face of a brand in two companies, TNA World Champion. We're giving it too much for him. We need, let's share the wealth among others. Maybe they did that. Maybe they did that while Trick Williams wasn't involved in none of these events. Maybe not. But still, all in all, it's great to see Trick Williams on the main roster. I don't know, my waiting for my guest he's going to show up. One thing I think Trick needs to do is slow down on the microphone. He fumbles a few words yesterday cutting his promo. I think he was trying to go too fast. You're right. Trick Williams is smooth. He has gotten much smoother on those mics. Trick Williams, when he talks on the microphone, he looks like he wants to kind of like, not comedy, but deliver it like a Rick James, like a Chappelle type of zinger. That's probably what some people might like it, some people might not like it. But Trick Williams, his debut was about being him or the anointed one. Let's talk about it. That for Trick, with time, he will get comfortable. He'll hit his cadence. He'll hit his pauses, his different marks on the main roster. Yes, he's going to get reps. Listen, he totally killed it at TNA, cutting promos on certain live televisions there. NXT is live each and every week. The only disservice that NXT has given to him, if, like you said, he didn't slow down or he didn't hit his cues, is because everyone in the Performance Center aren't going to tell him that, because most of them are friends. I mean, they're not like that he chose them. Those are not his friends, but they feel friendly with Trick. They feel him as a relative. Sometimes they don't tell him exactly what he needs to hear, but the coaches will. I think Trick will be fine. I think, in a long story short, I think Trick will be fine going forward. Delano, I think he'll be fine. Yeah, he had the Y2J entrance. Speaking, we'll find out if that's going to happen. I have a theory on that one as well, as I'm ready to move on from Trick and Sami Zayn. We'll see later on the road. Sami Zayn thinks Trick needs to be humble. He needs a humble pie. That's the same thing they try to say or do in TNA, and how'd that work out? Didn't work out too much for TNA. Trick Williams still got over on TNA. He's just that guy. We got a backstage immediately to Carmelo Hayes and Ilya Dragunov, where pretty much Ilya wants another shot at Carmelo Hayes. Melo is going to grant him that. He's going to continue the spirit of the United States Open. He has Johnny Gargano next. Reports out there where today, I think Bodyslam.net reported that Tommaso Ciampa, once his contractual time with the WWE is up, he will not be extending or resigning, or he will be pretty much leaving the WWE. Don't know if he's going to go on an independent run or wrestling, whatever the case is. Looks like Tommaso Ciampa's days in the WWE will be coming to an end. Listen, I know some people love him. Some people hold on and maybe, hold on to that black and gold nostalgia for Tommaso Ciampa. Ciampa just didn't seem like it really hit. What he came up with the Miz as that bodyguard, silent type, then got injured, the braid and this and that. Tommaso Ciampa just didn't to me, it just didn't hit. Gargano is not another one, although, you know, we're going to talk about it right now. The match with the United States Open Challenge with Carmelo Hayes and Johnny Gargano was a hell of a match. Those guys worked their ass off. One thing I did say when I was doing the watch along, they have a lot of chemistry. They had good chemistry. His first title defense was a mere awesome, where we had heard the crowd, this is awesome chants at the end of that contest. Bloody nose, Johnny Gargano, some of these counter moves for them. It was a really good opportunity for Johnny Gargano to have a conversation, at least for the creative teams. We could still use this guy in 2026. He put on a hell of a match here in this mid-card division, especially when you have a 3-hour SmackDown. You need contenders. You need guys to put storyline. I don't know where it goes now with DIY as a tag team. I know everybody, because you can't go back to the old reliable where a heel turn on Johnny, or Johnny turns on Ciampa, Ciampa turns on Johnny. We've seen there, done that. It's like, you bring out a championship and you call it a triple B. We've been there, done that already. They need to move on for that. Maybe this is the best for Johnny Gargano. That Ciampa is not being the WWE. He now has to raise his level of work and not rely that their tag teams were both are safe. I don't know when it comes to DIY where that goes. I thought Candice LeRae's involvement was pretty cool at ringside. Candice LeRae now moving into a producer type of role, but still managing Gargano and Ciampa. I don't know if that goes away now that Tommaso Ciampa's time has come over to an end. Where did that go for Johnny Gargano? It's up to creative. Look, in a world with Apollo Crews still on the WWE payroll and roster, there's a world for a Johnny Gargano to still stay on the WWE roster and be around there. See an NXT run. But listen, I wouldn't mind him crossing the line over to TNA to work, or AAA, even AAA Mexico. Him and Candice LeRae, they want it. And we talked about the mixed tag team earlier. Could that be something for them to do? Mixed tag team. They need some people to take some pins or put some matches together. Loved it. I'm gonna read some more comments. Let me get right to Delano. The only one that will humble Trick is Hayes. The feud on the main roster will cook if it's done correctly. I don't know if everyone wants to see the Trick Mello gang. I want to see them together as a group. I don't want to see them feuding, but I understand why you guys liked it. It did develop and really showed us a great stand and deliver. Their matches and stand and deliver, their feud was really good in NXT. Ciampa was a waste on the main roster. Gargano was a waste as well. Yeah, I wish creative will give Gargano the same storyline push they gave Daniel Bryan. In the world title picture, or just in a mid card, I don't know. It's hard to put to give Johnny Gargano that world title run picture. If that were to happen, a short title run, like I'm okay with certain people getting a short title run. Like if they're gonna like the world, even if it's for a look, Jey Uso is the perfect story. If everyone in WrestleMania was feeling so great and they were eating when he won the world title from Gunther, and then he just had a short title run, it ran its course. It was fun for a while. It lasted. I think I don't think they have to give it to Johnny Gargano, but we'll like to see a little short title runs here and there. But you don't want a hot potato. Here's the problem when it comes to short title runs to certain wrestlers. You don't want it to become a hot potato title because it becomes the 24/7, and that's something that the WWE is trying to protect. Even with the United States title, they have the open challenge, and yes, if you go around, you're defending your title week after week after week, fatigue. You're not always on your sharp wits. You're going to get probably beaten, but it is what it is. We'll see where it goes. We just don't want it the hot potato with the titles. Gargano's a world champion. I don't know, with too many people in front of him on the head of the line. I don't see that happening in the WWE at all. To be honest with you, I don't see that for Johnny Gargano, and I don't know if he's okay with that. Do I see Johnny Gargano, as a AAA world champion? I could see that. He has a random match where Dominic Mysterio, he slips on a banana peel with the proper storyline, distraction, a slap in the face by one of these weirdas that he's hanging out with, and Gargano gets a flash pin and beats him, and he's off and running, and he has that AAA championship, and he can have it for a while, for a couple of months, 3 months, 90 days, and he loses it. I could see that. It still gives it credibility. It's still a major world championship for AAA Mexico. I could see that happening. That could be something shock and all. Like, oh, I didn't see that happening. I could see something like that. Oh, on the mid card, if Gargano gets the world championship push, has it against CM Punk, will be about great wrestling. It will be about some awesome wrestling between those two. The only pushback I have on this, TKO, the corporate greed. They were all about making tickets, selling tickets, merchandise. People's asking for $5 more per seat that you used to pay, that more that you paid last year. Guaranteed the seat that if you will go to the same venue, the same arena, this year will be a little $5 more, or even maybe more. And they're looking to increase those prices. And they're going to keep pushing the increase until pretty much people say I can't anymore. And they're going to be so unmerciful to ask for more money. And if and creative has felt that they have to give something for you to open your wallet. If they're telling you Gargano's your world champion, I don't know how quickly your wallets are opening. That's all. I'm trying to bring it to the money part, because we all work our asses off. And maybe I'm in the minority. Maybe there is a majority of people that want to see Johnny Gargano as the world champion, or in a major push. I don't think creative sees it that way. I don't know. If they were, I'm just trying to put the other side of the coin. Now, if they want to do if they told the story correctly of Johnny Gargano becoming a world champion and a major player, if they tell the underdog, the Daniel Bryan, yes, but there is a kind of a yes movement, but the modern day 2026 version of it, it could be done. But it's up to creative. They really got to put all their eggs in the Gargano basket, and hopefully, his size and stature, he don't get injured. And that will derail the whole entire money train and creative. Even might cost creative and producers their jobs if that doesn't work. If they lose money in their quarters. Remember, they're about, well, how much money we made, how much profit we made. If we didn't make 68% profit, they start mashing their teeth. If they came at a 54, they think it's a loss. They think they're calling poverty. They're looking for to sign up for the Snaps program. If they don't make, if the corporate stockholders make 50, under 68% profit, they're calling poverty. All right, so we get the promo here backstage where we see Nick Aldis telling Cody, if he goes out there, where's Drew? Wants Drew. Remember, Cody, you can't put your hands on Drew, or you will have to hand over the world title. But before he comes out, we see a Obafemi video package. Now, they've been teasing about Obafemi now on Raw, on SmackDown. Which brand is Obafemi going on? Obafemi has a big matchup coming up against Leon Slater at New Year's Evil, which I'm going to try to be in the building. I'm on my way. I will be in the building for New Year's Evil in the Performance Center to see that up close and personal. Cody comes out. Of course, you see Drew in the back. Drew video package. I said Drew is not going to see him face to face. He's going to be in the video in front of his Cody bus. Talked about the 3 stages of hell matches. Of course, the typical regular match, 4 count anywhere, and a steel cage for Drew McIntyre. He shows a picture of Cody Rhodes from this bus with the American Nightmare. Cody in his brunette days. And of course, he has the picture, Cody, and of course, Cody is going ballistic bananas. He breaks it. He shatters and he goes out there, and security's trying to hold Cody. Cody, you're going to lose your title if you put your hands, if you lay a finger on him, and so forth. Then he goes out to the back. Cody, and a long story short, Drew McIntyre ends up in the middle of the ring with the trash can and the picture. He sets it on fire. The ultimate crossing the line of disrespect, burning his professional feud with Cody Rhodes and making it personal. And I loved it because you want some personal issues going in. But in Berlin, they better pull the trigger on Drew McIntyre winning the title. Samuel, ready? You're ready? And we're going to bring in Samuel, who's going to join me in here on a Saturday night. Samuel, hopefully your audio is good. How are you, sir? Samuel joining me. There he is.
Hey, I'm good.
Good. You sound a little muffled, but you're good. Samuel Lyons from, of course, Hello Media in the building.
I can hear you.
Good. All right. So we're talking about Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre, the 3 stages of hell. We're having in Germany next week, and I said that feud is now turned from it burned from professional and it crossed the line into now personal.
Okay.
Your thoughts?
Basically, first of all, thank you so much, Rakev. So excited to be here. Saturday night. It's already Sunday morning over here, but I love this. Yeah, the feud has actually turned personal. Because this is why Drew McIntyre is the great storyteller that he is. Like the man, since this man came back in 2015, he's been doing an impeccable job, and this is one of those ones. If anything, CM Punk and he did a couple of years ago did not say anything to you. This is one of those ones, and I love how Drew tries to push in on the personal stuff on it, and it's so crazy how almost everything he's saying is the truth, and he's the heel at this point. I love it, and it also shows how great of a babyface Cody is, because you see how he fights to prove himself in this whole situation. I'm so much loving this, but I'm I just wish WWE would not be so safe and not give and allow Cody to walk away with the title. And right now, for the first time, I'm like, damn, I don't even know what this is all about, because at the end of the day, it looks like Drew might be walking away. Might not be walking away champion come next week, because he has a lot of personal issues around everybody on SmackDown. It's crazy.
Yeah. And I was saying Drew McIntyre if Drew McIntyre becomes your undisputed world heavyweight champion here in the new year, it's okay, because you have contenders. You have Randy Orton, who wants a shot at that world title. You have chasers. You also have Sami Zayn, who earlier in the night cut the promo and saying that he has not won that world title. His son wants to know, Dad, how many world championships have you won? None. So now he's on a mission. Another contender where even if Drew McIntyre were to become your undisputed world champion, you've got at least 2 feuds there to sandwich in between for Royal Rumble, Elimination Chamber, and then WrestleMania. For WrestleMania, Cody could return. I've said this time and time again. Cody does his greatest work in professional wrestling when they're chasing for the world title. No one gets more invested with crowd participation, ratings, merchandising when Cody Rhodes is a chaser of the title. It's just something about the Rhodes lineage and their it's in their DNA to be chasing for world title, and I would love to see that.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, I would love to see that too, and I really hope they could tell this story in a way where, is there any harm in Cody losing? Because Cody is so much that's their most prized possession right now. That's the biggest thing they have in that company right now. So I can understand as a business if they would want to protect him that much. But I'm not sure anybody will look at Cody less if he takes a loss here. As long as we are right on the brink of Royal Rumble season, we have Mania season coming in. So they can get it back on him, but it has to be the story. Drew has gotten a whole lot of losses, and he's not been champion almost 2 years now. So come on. The man gotta get his own views. So I really, funny enough, it looks like I think the company is a bit fucked at this point because you have Cody. Cody has a gripe on why he should win. You have Drew. Drew has a gripe why he should win. So at this point, like we don't know. May the best man will be so unpredictable, and I love it when I don't have the answers to my questions.
Yeah, we will see. We will see next week in Germany. That's the 3 stages of hell. Anything could happen here. Now that that Randy Orton is back. Remember back in the reports back in the summer when WrestlePalooza that Randy Orton was going to cost Drew McIntyre the title and start Cody the title to Drew due to Randy Orton's interference. Do they do that in Germany? Who knows? Because it's the stipulations will be there. It'll be a steel cage. It'll be a false count anywhere. So I don't know that the order of the matches, which is first, unless if that is the stage, if it's going to be the classic match, false count, and then this cage. I think that's the way it is, but you never know in the WWE. They might not even get to the steel cage part. We'll see. We'll find out with Cody. We can't wait to break that and get anticipated for a whole entire week of that build. And we'll move on from the Cody and Drew. We both think that Drew McIntyre will win the world title. If Drew does not win the world title, I don't know where Drew McIntyre goes from here. Because even if he wins the Royal Rumble, we're gonna be like, it's another failed situation because you're not winning in WrestleMania either. There'll be a lack of faith in Drew McIntyre's character going forward if he does not win the Undisputed World title. But this is wrestling. If they tell the proper story on how Cody won, maybe some of us could accept it. I don't think so in 2026, but we shall see. We'll move on here. We'll move on to this next match because I want to get to the other companies. I want to wrap up SmackDown and talk about the rest. I don't want to make it too elaborated tonight. WWE United States Women's Champion. We have Chelsea Green taking on Giulia. Now, last time when Giulia lost her United States title, Chelsea Green used the rope on a quick 1-2-3 roll-up. We get the rematch there. Here's a thing. The United States crowd were pro-Chelsea. Of course, it was in Buffalo, just right on the Canadian border. Giulia, in 2025, coming up to the main roster, it was like a stuck in neutral with the fans and the crowd. We know she's a great in-ring performer, but it's just like it's hard to get that character development in Giulia. You try to give Kiana James, where Kiana James herself has to try to develop her character to the wrestling audience because of an injury, and it kind of felt like a combination that's both stuck on neutral, where you're not really gravitating to Kiana James and Giulia. Look, you put them on screen, they're gorgeous. Do you want to watch them on television? They're beautiful women. But but then after the beauty, give us something to really want to grab into their story. And they haven't had that with SmackDown. And you tend to not put too much attention to that match. But Chelsea was over with the crowd, loses the Women's United States Championship, second range for Giulia. I just want to hope that we get some opponents and story with Giulia to make it feel special now. It's like a reset. I don't know. I don't have too much confidence in that, Samuel.
Yeah, it's nobody booked Giulia. Nobody booked Japanese wrestlers better than Triple H back then in Black and Gold. So you would think he would be able to handle this job. I mean, Shawn Michaels did his best on how he could do it. It's just, I feel Giulia is suffering from the impact of the meteoric rise of Stephanie Vaquer. It's funny how she was the most anticipated superstar. I remember when news broke that she was being signed by NXT. Like, oh, Giulia from Stardom. My goodness, like it was big news. It was everybody was anticipated like to see her. And all of a sudden, Stephanie Vaquer had that match Methodist Monet, and so was going on. Vaquer is signed, and like just the everything going on. Unfortunately for Giulia, I believe both of them came in at the same time, and they tried to turn this tag team. They showed Giulia was the one that got the first taste at championship gold. She was the superstar. the beautiful madness. It was everything was perfect. It just so happened that supersede or over like the overness was just too much. Like he suppressed Giulia. It feels like she never be recovered. She never recovered. I think you have it was 1A and 1B. Now it's square as day. It's one and two. And she has taken the back seat, and I felt like she should have stayed in NXT. I believe she should have stayed in NXT. Or even if she was to look at the main roster, we barely have women right now because almost all the women are being tied up in the tag team division. You have Charlotte there, you have Alexa tied up, you have Rhea Ripley now, you have like almost all the women are big All-Star, and so everybody that was supposed to make the women's division feel like so everybody's all tied up in the tag team division. So Giulia has nobody to work with. Like who is she supposed to work with on SmackDown? Like it feels like it's only Chelsea that she has to run with, and Chelsea. It's funny to say Chelsea is even a disaster than Giulia right now. So it's like, what do you do with her? How do you save this? The only thing that can happen, I believe, the only thing that can happen.
As he's frozen up for a minute, but I think what I'm going to piggyback on is as soon as he comes back on. What I'm going to piggyback on that when he said Giulia doesn't really have a lot to work with in the SmackDown realm. You're probably correct. And hopefully now with the emergence of Jordynne Grace being teased, with a contract signing for SmackDown, and Jade Cargill has no one either. And you don't want to give Giulia and Jade Cargill immediately because one of them is going to get eliminated and you're really not going to care at either one. But that's the worst thing to put those two in a feud together because you want to get one over and you want both of them to get over and one is going to get really pushed really to the back of the line. This is where you can't put a Nia Jax again. It's a tough SmackDown is in a tough situation when it comes to the women's division for the singles. They were trying to revamp. They're trying to revamp the women's tag team. One thing I heard some suggestion from one of my chat members when it comes to Jade Cargill, and I know we're talking Giulia, but it bringing up talent where I would have loved to see Jade Cargill. She's teased of bringing the baddies. You could bring one wrestler up from NXT to be part of her baddies, and that's Jada Parker. She was one of those names that was rumored to be backstage, didn't show up, or it wasn't on camera on television screen for maybe she works a house show or so forth tonight or whatever the case is that they did. If they did a house show for the WWE, Jada Parker alongside with you could see even B-Fab turning on Meacham, and then you have a group for Jade Cargill as a baddies. How does that help the women's division? It really doesn't help the women's division, but it's opponents for Giulia to go after. The Jada Park and Giulia will get some good matches. They have some matches. I believe they had a match in NXT, so forth. You can't bring all the women up immediately, but eventually Blake Monroe is one of those names that could be using going up to the Blue brand. Tiffany Stratton is on a little bit of a hiatus. I don't know if she's just retooling and just getting a program, getting herself ready, out of sight, out of mind, and just getting back to strengthen. And of course, and I think, I'm with you, Delano. I was going to get to that point, and he made it. And he made the point that we were going to get to, where if you have that baddies, now you could bring Asuka, Kairi, and Giulia. I think Giulia could use a rub and help from the Kabuki Warriors, the popularity and care about her. And you say, wait a minute. They're with Kabuki Warriors, and she could wrestle. And we know that Giulia could wrestle. I think that would have been – I think they should have – and I know they didn't want to go that route because, she's going to get pigeoned with all the – it's the same thing whenever a Latin wrestler comes to the WWE. Oh, they'll just put them in the LWO. And I understand that, we'll just put them with the Kabuki Warriors. I get that. But in this case, for Giulia to get comfortable, to be seen by and loved by the wrestling crowd, that route should have went that way. Where sometimes in the Latin aspects, they pigeon them immediately with the LWO. So it's a weird thing. It's a weird dynamic. But I think Giulia, yes, I like the fact Giulia should be in a new group along with Kairi and Asuka with the Kabuki Warriors. And Io could do her own thing. I think Io's told him that she could work on her own. I personally don't like the lovey-dovey with Rhea Ripley. But if they're doing that tag team right now where it keeps Rhea Ripley out of the main title picture and letting other ladies work in that world title picture, I'm good with it as well, too. Sammy, you were back here. We're talking about And Delano and I made a good point. Delano made the point even stronger. Maybe Giulia should work in a new fashion group with the Kabuki Warriors.
Exactly what I actually had that thought in mind. I'm like, instead of EO, Julia is the best fit right now because I feel she really needs a shot in the arm to join something new, to start something new, and I believe she should be with her brethren. I hate the fact that this was kind of like what people were talking about when the LW was a thing, where all Mexican wrestlers were all paired up there. Like, so we don't want this to be more of like, oh, are they just dumping all minority groups in one group? Like, why does other wrestlers from other ethnicities have to do their own thing, and then all these ones have to be lumped into one? We don't want that to be the thing. But right now, like Julia needs that more than anybody. Like, I've never yet advocated for anybody to be lumped into a minority group just so that they would group. But right now, I feel like she needs that because so that she can feed off Oscar, she can feed off Kyrie. She's better because right now, whatever she's doing with Kiana is not even helping things. Like, Kiana is dragging her down, Julia is running, like, they are both dragging each other down. Nothing is working. You could see from the ovation she got when she won that championship last night. Nobody cared.
And look, even if and you say, but what do you do with Kiana? Simple. Well, it's not simple. You right now. Let's look. Obviously, in NXT, Lainey Reed isn't ready to be in the main roster. We know that Lainey Reed in a Fatal Influence is not ready to be in the main roster. Although she's going to get there. But right now, she could use a nice NXT run just to sharpen her tools. There's no disrespect to Lainey Reed, but you could bring up both JC Jane, Fallon Henley, and team her up with Kiana James, and that's your new Fatal Influence. And you could go with that. They could go in there, and that's a new fashion group, and you move Giulia onto with the Kabuki Warriors. Now you have a tag team and a singles competitor there if you want, and so forth. Or even for Kiana James, she could hire Zoe Stark. Should be anytime soon coming back from that gruesome injury. I think you've seen her on X. She looks jacked. She looks phenomenally in great shape. Maybe Zoe Stark's return and another client for another woman for SmackDown, a client for Kiana James, where now she'll feud with Giulia coming back in, and then Kiana turns on her. I'm trying to make it make sense with what they have, not bringing people from the outside of the company that's not here yet or fantasy book, but to make it work with the ingredients that you have in your cupboards. When I mean cupboards, on the roster. So maybe that's a way they could go with that. We don't know. Again, it doesn't mean it's going to happen exactly like that. We're just putting these scenarios out. IWC, what they have in the cupboards. You open up your pantry and you're going to pick out the wrestlers that you have and try to make it work. And hopefully they could tell the right stories where we can invest and want to see and want it. But you also have to give it a time to simmer. You have to make it a time to marinate and simmer. And you just can't say it's not going to work and we're not going to do it. You have to try it at times, though. So let's see how that goes. If creative, I'll start the inner turmoil with the Kabuki Warriors and Giulia being a shiny student for Asuka. Yeah, that's exactly upset Shane and Kiana James stir the pot as a manager. Yes, I 100% really like. I like that, and we'll see where that goes. Because the time is ticking on the importance of caring for Giulia. Because I don't want the last thing for Giulia to be like I don't, or when you see her, you exhale no pop, and you don't want her off your television. Where nonsense. She is such an uber talented woman, and she's. I hope they know how to use her. They don't fumble her like they say here. And a big year for Giulia, a pivot year, in my opinion, for Giulia and the WWE as well going forward. And we'll move on here. Of course, I talked about that backstage where we saw Rhea and Io, Charlotte and Alexa. They want a shot at the tag teams of champions if they get successfully beat the Kabuki Warriors. That's setting up that if that happens, we have back and forth with those ladies. Don't know if that's going to happen. We'll see on Monday. Also, we get a backstage where Gargano, who was bleeding, and of course with Fraxium, show that wants the mask back. They're going to have a mask match. I guess Johnny Gargano loses. He gives back Axiom his mask. We'll set that up. I'm going to go to the main event, the ambulance match. This is the first ambulance match in 6 years in the WWE brand. The first on SmackDown. Damian Priest, Aleister Black, the final payoff of a 6-month feud between those two men. I thought the match was really good. The spots there with the black mask, that he got hit, Damian Priest, the visuals, how Damian was like looking up in the lights and he looked like he got his bell rung, just sold it to us and the camera, good camera work as the camera zoomed in on Damian Priest's eyes, looked like a deer in the headlights, and on the apron, the incursions of Zelina Vega throughout the match, where we're like, damn, Damian, if anything here, it'd be a great opportunity. Lola Vice gets called up here and helps out Damian Priest. We know that there are a couple outside of the wrestling. And Lola Vice is another one that's spinning her wheels in NXT. Do they call her up and have her sink or swim, whatever? And then when that ambulance opened up, I was like, yeah, it makes sense. She's in the building. Why not use her? The Terror Twin, Rhea Ripley, comes out, neutralizes Zelina Vega. The match continues. We got a fireball spot there from Damian Priest on Aleister Black. I'm not going to lie, when he set up the table right behind and when he tried to open up the back door of the ambulance, Damian Priest, and I'm like, damn, it doesn't open. And then when he went to the side door of the ambulance, I thought someone was going to jump Damian Priest, in behalf of Aleister Black. I thought, because all night they've been surprising us with newcomers, new people in the roster. I'm like, who's going to help out Aleister actually beat Damian? I thought Damian was going to lose. So I'm like, man, the back door of the ambulance doesn't open. They're setting something up. Where the side doors, he's going to get attacked. And then when he opened the side door, nothing. And then when he went to open up the back door in the ambulance, still nothing. I was like, whoa, I thought that was going to be someone. I don't know your thoughts of this, Sammy, before we get to that, to the eventual finish. The spot what I'm talking about, where you saw the ambulance door not open and he used the side door and then back again. I thought that was going to be someone. Did that cross your mind or no?
Yeah, it doesn't.
Aleister Black feels like a favorite singing. Singing doesn't look like a wrestler either way. Him and Sami Zayn with a black belt. Sam was having a little bit of technical difficulties. So, so we'll move on with this. We see Aleister Black gets put into the ambulance closed. The choke slam off the top of the ambulance. The choke slam, the backdrop onto the glass, the windshield. Was like, the razor's edge, excuse me. It was the razor's edge when he was going to put him onto that tool container, and then he said, no, I'm not going to do it there. It's going to go onto the ambulance windshield. I just wanted this feud to be over. I think a lot of the wrestling community, Delano, wanted that wrestling feud to be over between Aleister and Damian Priest. Has been a 6-month feud with a payoff, and a payoff was that ambulance match. And not bad. They didn't want to bring in the structure of a steel cage or Hell in a Cell. I liked the ambulance match, something different, something new in 2026. We don't see that much on the main roster. And then, of course, that choke slam right onto that table on the outside, and Aleister takes the loss. What's next for both men? I don't really know, because is that going to catapult Damian Priest into upper main card? Is he going to former United States champion for Carmelo Hayes in an open challenge? Is that something you want to see? Or I don't see him in the Undisputed World title picture unless if it's Drew McIntyre. I don't see him if it's Cody. If it's Drew, I could see a Damian Priest. You could have a feud because we have had that feud before where Damian and Drew McIntyre wrestled in WrestleMania. You could revisit that, and you could have feuds to get you through the next Premium Live event. So I like where they're going. If Drew, it all depends on Drew McIntyre. Look, that's why new, fresh champions once in a while are needed. If you don't, and you want to get people elevated, when you pigeonhole a title on one wrestler like Cody, it's hard to get other people over. Drew, you could still get people over with Drew World Champion beating those others that we mentioned until he loses it in a short title run, or even a 6 months title run for Drew McIntyre all the way to WrestleMania will be a nice change of pace where Cody eventually returns and gets the title, or even if after that, we could wait for in the summer for Cody to win the title again. Give the opportunity. Let's see in 2026 if someone else emerges as the Undisputed World Champion. And Cody might be a little too big for them. Might be over. We're gonna find out if Cody is bigger than the world title, like they like to say. Only time will tell. I thought, look, Friday Night SmackDown was a very entertaining show. I enjoyed the new faces, the injection of fresh new talent, whether it's from the indies like Matt Cardona, a returning independent wrestler like a Matt Cardona, a TNA wrestler if you want to call him. The elevation of Trick Williams. We saw Last Legend already part of the roster a couple weeks. Ilya Dragunov, returned from injury from SmackDown. You've got so many different, wrestlers coming here. Jordynne Grace, their tease, Javon Evans could be another name that could be caught up there, although that looks like it's a Raw type of deal for him. But you get a lot of nice young NXT talent rising in the WWE right now, and that's a nice thing. They're not, you know what? People were getting upset. I remember last year around this time, people were complaining and getting upset that Triple H does not want to push the black talent. No, they weren't ready yet. Look at how they come now and how big, how exciting, how enamored we are as wrestling fans for that talent on the roster. From a Lash Legend, from a Javon Evans, from Carmelo Hayes, from Trick Williams. My goodness, Obafemi, Leon Slater, seeing him wrestle and on the John Cena tour. That's not the end of it. You got Kalani Jordan pretty soon at the end of the year coming up. So yes, so they weren't ready at the time when the wrestling community was pouting and calling Triple H a racist for no reason. They just weren't ready. They just don't want to put them in a situation to fail. They just didn't want to bring these kids up to put in a situation to fail. And they right now, they were going to get pushed to the back because of the John Cena retirement. That was going to take precedent, and rightfully it should have. So keep them in NXT, hold them back a little more. Now there's no excuses to be pushed on every Friday night and Mondays going forward, Samuel.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where we I'm not going to say I did not also join, not like I joined them in putting my voice there on social media, but it was more something like I think about, or like I just think within myself, where I'm like, oh, there's no much black talents here and all of that. And obviously we know MVP will always go on podcast and say how Triple H is and all of that, but we get all of that. But at the end of the day, personally for me, you could see how a lot of the creative took backseat last year because they all put all their eggs in one basket. That was the John Cena money train. And
correct.
I still today look back at the moment where Triple H was hugging John Cena and everybody was booing him, and I that moment I was telling myself that these are the taking over to the pocket money this season because they broke the bank with that for 1 full year. There was nothing else that could John Cena, catching on and with that. But just be
Give me a minute. Sammy, your audio is really bad. I gotta put you out for a moment. Give me a minute. Your audio is really bad right now. Give me a minute. Sorry guys, his audio was a little bad. He had a lot good to say. I wanted to hear his thought on that because it was very important to hear what he had to say there about that narrative that Triple H was getting from either MVP and the IWC. Everyone's gonna have an opinion, and there was some. Were you frustrated in Carmelo Hayes' booking? I was watching him in NXT 2.0, investing my time watching him grow and so forth, and seeing him just having that great match with Cody, and then nothing really happened in throughout the 2025 career of Carmelo Hayes. But still, now look where he's heading. Hopefully these other talents that we mentioned continue to elevate. And I mean, my goodness, we talked about Kalani Jordan hasn't showed up on the main roster radar yet. To, former TNA Knockouts champion, NXT, North American champion. She's done a lot of great stuff, and she's getting better. Probably NXT Woman Champion before she gets to the main roster. You've got Callie Armstrong. Jada Parker. We got names that, my goodness, that are coming up that are you talk about representation. The NXT is just uber talented young ladies that are getting ready to burst on the scene. Connie Monroe, Chantel Monroe, down there. It's just another one on L'Evolve. There's so many young talented women that we cannot wait. In a few years, the pipeline and the future is bright. If you're worried about the ethnicity representation on WWE, just it's there. It's going to be there. You're seeing it now in 2026. And it's just, not just that, the Latin fluctuation in WWE is another one, so it's great to see that everyone's serving a purpose, and they're seen by talent, not just by your ethnicity, which is good in WWE. That's what we want. We want to make sure there's an equal opportunity for people to get over. And, in a business that is stereotyped with nepotism and blonde, blue eyes, it's good to see that we're seeing in 2026 now a little different representation with WWE. So, again, we'll see if Samuel joins me back here. I want to move on here because I want to preview what's going on coming up here. And first and foremost, we've been an hour on, and I want to say thank you to our sponsor, Dude Wipes. Dude Wipes is the sponsor of the Sports Jedi Network. Dude Wipes and the Sports Jedi Network, we're wiping out the competition one tushy at a time. So thank you, Dude Wipes, for sponsoring our channel in 2025 and continuing here in 2026. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Got my refill pack earlier. Got my tushy will be clean in 2026 and beyond. Of course, nothing helps more than soap and water, but of course, in just those moments. We'll go right into it. Let's talk about this week, Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw is going to be fun from Brooklyn, New York, from the hometown of our guy, Chef Dan. Chef Dan, of course, the Michelin star Chef Dan. He will have the honor to have SmackDown hosting his borough. Got some good ones here. My goodness. Starting with the World Heavyweight Championship, Punk versus Braun Breaker, where everyone's, I think people are expecting a title change. I am a uber Braun Breaker fan. I think we might get this title change, but in Saudi Arabia. I know everyone's thinking Braun Breaker's winning the Royal Rumble, one of the favorites. Don't know. I don't have a feeling, a gut, who's winning the men's Royal Rumble this year. But I don't know if Braun wins the world title, because if Drew McIntyre is going to win, you already have Giulia winning the United States World Champion. That's one title change. Kabuki Warriors against Io and Rhea Ripley for the women's tag team titles. I could see Rhea and Io winning the titles there. So I don't think they're going to do a major overhaul in changing titles like maniacs on for the first few weeks in the WWE. They don't play it that way. Usually they like some not safe but conservative title reigns. I could see Punk holding on. A lot of people were saying this is where Chris Jericho should come out. Jericho should be the member of the Vision. I say nonsense. I hope not. Not that I don't want to see Chris Jericho in the WWE, of course. I don't. It's all going to make Braun, Brunson Reed, and Austin Theory take a seat back to Chris Jericho, because then you kind of want to cheer Chris if he comes back to the WWE, and if he aligns himself with Heyman and the Vision, you're not going to cheer Jericho. You can't. You want to cheer him. So it's counterproductive if you put Chris Jericho part of the Vision. Oh, he should be part of the Vision. I don't think so. I think it's very counterproduction. Jericho doesn't need to be in a faction. I totally agree with you. Jericho does not. I've said this, and I'll say this again. This is my conspiracy, or my thought outside the box. This is just me thinking outside the box, guys. And I think if we don't see Chris Jericho on Monday Night Raw from Brooklyn, it's not a letdown. It's not a disappointment of an episode. Please get that out of your head, because that's the problem with the wrestling community. They're conditioned to have up-and-comers or a surprise guest in every wrestling show. And if they don't have a surprise guest or a surprise appearance to the roster or to the company, the show isn't great. They need that euphoria. They feel like drug addicts watching wrestling, because they got conditioned by either WCW You know, back in the day, before they went, when they head to head with WWE, they had a new WWE wrestler show up. He's here, and Tony Schiavone wets his pants, and they got to fans. We got to go. We out of time. And the same thing happened with All Elite Wrestling when they emerged and they started coming up, and they were bringing in, you know, guys every week from the WWE castaways, and they were getting excited, and the wrestling fans got conditioned to that. And then then the WWE, you know, also started doing that when they started bringing Hit Row, Gargano, you know, when they started bringing back Karrion Kross. And they you can't have that each and every week, because when you don't have it, they tend to turn on the product and say it's trash, it's no good. Oh, I didn't like it. It was boring. It was safe. It was, you know. I hope they don't condition us on Monday Night Raw with if you want to bring NXTers because you did it on SmackDown, fine. But I don't think Jericho returns, and I think the next time we see Jericho outside of AEW on any television, this is just me. My prediction is going to be on January 15th at the AMC TNA show. I think he's going to come out, cut a promo. Doesn't mean he signed with TNA, guys. He's going to show up there. Wouldn't be surprised if he has a match on Genesis for TNA brand. Maybe it's a one-off, you know, a match, a few, whatever. Maybe we'll see him on a couple of tapings and Jericho, and then we'll see him back. Then we'll see him on the Rumble, or even before the Rumble, declaring that he's going to get into the Rumble. I think he's going to do the both companies for Chris Jericho, where we're going to see him not every week, just again in the beginning of the year for TNA, help him get that rub, get those eyeballs to AMC. That's part of the collaboration joint. I think Jericho likes to get back to the wrestling business. Jericho said on his podcast that kind of burned or hit a nerve to the sickos, that he sees TNA work like a number 2 promotion from Bound for Glory, and looks like it's ready to take that number 2 promotion in the United States. And it kind of hit a nerve, which you kind of knew that he was out the door with the AEW brand. Jericho doesn't need to take shots. I know he was taking shots when he was part of AEW, calling that Raw was going to be number 2 show, where Dynamite was going to be the first and over show. They didn't work out. But trust me, I have a funny feeling. That's just my theory, my funny feeling. I think we're going to see Jericho. If we don't see him on Monday Night Raw, we'll see him definitely show up on that AMC for because there's still some dates for Fozzy, I believe, and he's got some touring dates and so forth. But I don't know. But I don't think those dates coincide around the 15th and the 17th for TNA, and I could see him have a TNA short. It doesn't mean he signed. Back and forth and so forth. I could see that. That's just me. That's just a hunch, because you also have, and because I don't see the world title picture where Jericho causes Braun to lose the title, or distraction with Punk wins and Braun retains. I still think somehow I think CM Punk walks away with the world title. I don't know how I hope Braun doesn't take the pin. I hope something. I don't know what that. I don't expect a clean finish. I feel something's going to happen. I'll be pleasantly surprised if Braun Breaker is your world heavyweight champion, because the Elimination Chambers in Chicago, where CM Punk could win the Elimination Chamber there. I don't know. Listen, I might be a TNA shill. They've been really good to us. So maybe that, again, I'm going to say that with love and compassion. If he makes his debut in TNA, then I just need him to pin the opponent on his foot on his chest while flexing, yelling, "Come on, baby," like he did it. Oh my God, imagine he does that. But again, this maybe just me being an Uber TNA shill. They've been real good to the channel. They've been really nice. What's going on, Millennium Knob? What's happening, brother? Happy New Year, friend. Hope you're doing well. I haven't seen your post in a few days. I have not seen your post, your good morning post. I always start my morning when I go to X and I see Millennium Knobs good morning post. Very, very cordial. Always start my morning with that salute. It's like a cup of coffee on the X machine. Salute to you, friend. Yeah, so I could see that happening. Also, we got Maxine Dupree taking on Becky Lynch. Now, it's Becky Lynch, Maxine Dupree. Maxine just got married. She don't know if she's going on an extended honeymoon. This is a chance for Becky Lynch to win the world title or Intercontinental title back. Here's what I will love. but it's not going to happen. So much that I hear either on Busted Open, from the low-key legend, Natalya. You know, Natalia's been knows no secrets that she's Maxine's trainer, and Natalya's this badass stretch kick your ass machine. I would love Maxine to lose because the heel turn of the low-key legend, Natalya, just totally obliterates her, and Becky Lynch so opportunistic, and Maxine loses her title and then after the match, or even if Becky beats Maxine after the match, that's where the low-key legend just beats the crap out of Maxine on storyline, writes her off, and they have to stretch her out, you know, a neck injury a la Kirk Angle-ish, because she does use a lot of the ankle lock. She has a neck injury. You could say she's injured. You know, you could write off even if you up to the Rumble or even a little Elimination Chamber return with a neck injury, and a low-key legend is out there and up and running, and she's a badass, you know. And Maxine's return. We'll love that, where she could go on her honeymoon. You know, she's going to have to go on her honeymoon, write her off, where she's and show vignettes of her rehabbing her neck and with the Alpha Academy doubting herself, and she's back and she can't believe, a little heartbroken, disheveled, that her mentor, her teacher beat her and pretty much hurt her and all that stuff. Similar to Ricky Steamboat and Macho Man Randy Savage. Remember Steamboat, before wrestling Macho Man Randy Savage at WrestleMania 3, he went out with that throat injury. He had to learn how to talk. So I would love to see that for Maxine and Natalya. I don't know if they'll do that. Yes, I can't wait to talk some TNA, Delano. Yes, definitely. I want to hold that for there, Delano. Yes, I can't wait to talk some TNA in a few seconds. Absolutely. So as I'm trying to go through Monday Night Raw to see if Samuel's back in full force with us. Samuel, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. I don't know if you can hear me.
Sounds much better. Much better. Whatever you did sounds better.
Yeah.
I moved on to the Monday Night Raw portion because I want to get to TNA and All Elite Wrestling as well. I was talking about the Monday Night Stranger Things crossover and also the emergence of Chris Jericho. I don't think Chris Jericho will be on this card or won't be here on Monday, although a lot of people think he might be. I personally went on a limb and thinks that Jericho will not be on in Brooklyn. I've said that I see next time we see Jericho outside of an AEW ring will be in TNA, but not signing with TNA, just showing up for 3 or 4 appearances in TNA and then to the WWE. That's just a theory.
Obviously, I believe Chris Jericho is coming into WWE, but maybe might not be as soon as Monday, maybe a day from now. But I just believe, personally, for me, I would want him to, have fun. Just come in and have fun. No need to just come because, Chris Jericho doesn't have to do anything much for me. Just come here and have fun. I was talking to somebody off camera, and he was like, he was so into the you just made the list Chris Jericho time doing the 2017 friendship with Kevin Owens and the Festival of Friendship, and I'm like, that's what I would want Jericho to come and do. Obviously, I want him to have a huge comeback, a huge come in, and all of that. So I'm so excited to have him back. I don't know if it's gonna be as soon as Monday night, but definitely for sure. When he comes back, I want to see him have fun. Go to NXT, go come to SmackDown, tell stories, and not just on a retirement tour like what Cena did. Because if that's the case, we will just have to focus only on him, and I don't want that for the young talent that we have right now on the roster.
Oh, look, but I'm excited. I gotta say this. Your old internet connection before this, you know what?
Chip, you know what? You just made the list. Oh no! Oh, here we go.
Can you hear me?
Now you're good. Little Chris Jericho reference there, but no, I like the fact where you're coming from. It was a joke. That looks like it went over your head for a moment, but everyone enjoyed that one. That's in the spirit of Chris Jericho. And
I get it. My only because I just made the list so whack. I get you now.
Yes. Now you got it. All right. Come on. Don't I'm here all night. Tip your waiters and your waitresses. Of course. Uh we'll talk here a little bit. Some more of the raw part of it. Maxine Dupree, Becky Lynch. I think Maxine drops the title because she just got married. She's gonna want to go on her honeymoon. Wouldn't be surprised. But how they get to it, we'll love to see, Loki legend take her out with an injury. When I mean Natalia or Natty, whatever, wherever she, the Loki legend.
Yeah, Maxine, shout out to Maxine, obviously getting married recently. That's amazing and beautiful. But for the IC title, I was thinking we were about getting AJ and Becky. But obviously, WWE, when it comes to those kind of matches, they want to keep it up for WrestleMania. They want to keep it for the big match. They want to keep it for the big moments. And also, I believe right now, looking in hindsight, I'm like, oh, okay, that would have been the perfect transition from the husband and wife feud to the wives and wives feud, and just have them go bang promo for promo. But they had to pivot, and I don't understand.
Oh no, he's gonna make the list again. I would personally, if he's back. Okay.
So I don't understand why they would do that, but at the end of the day, I'm so excited to see where they go. And I just wish they would let AJ and Becky just tell stories. Like, I love what I got from Becky and Nikki Bella when she just went all in on Nikki Bella. Like, you can't see him no more. Like, all of those, that was great. Like that was when Becky was just throwing bombs. But I just wish they could do that again. And I'm proud of Maxine. And for Monday night, I don't know if they would go right back in putting the belt back on Becky, but that would be fun to see. But I just wish they would ride with Maxine. I don't know how they're gonna do that with she getting married and she just be winning the championship. It's just a whole lot, and we have Natty on the walks and all of that. So it's just incredible and impeccable to see what these ladies got for us, and I'm pretty much excited to see what they will have for us come Monday.
We'll find out because they, real quick on that women's intercontinental. I know you were talking about not having on SmackDown, not having a lot of mid card women to battle around. But I think the opposite when it comes to the women's intercontinental title. I know they're trying to vamp some of the tag teams. I know we mentioned Bailey and Lyra Valkyria as a team, as Millennium Knob was talking about, seeing probably them winning the tag team titles later on the road. But when it comes to singles women in that mid card women's intercontinental title, you have Nikki Bella, you've got Ivy Niles, you've got now, if they put Natty Neidhart part of this storyline, you've got more women on Raw than they do on SmackDown. Not only Nick, you still have more to choose from where you could go storylines with
Roxanne, Liv Morgan,
Roxanne, beautiful.
It's a whole lot. This is where we saw like Giulia would be a great fit on Raw, because we have more women there. On SmackDown, it's more of superstars, and right now she doesn't cut it. It's not it's not me insulting or throwing shades at Giulia. I'm just saying for the star that she is right now. We have bigger stars. We have Jade, Bianca, Alexa, Charlotte. Like, where does she fit in there? It doesn't make sense, because right now she needs to be on the come up, and she should be throwing bangers with Roxanne on Raw. She should be showing her expertise with Io. She should be showing herself off with Raquel. We have Nikki Bella there. I mean, she could do something with the IC title run. Maxine is there, still trying to Ivy Nile, like you said. Like, we have a whole bunch of women over there on Raw that she could, she would test strength, and obviously she's a great wrestler. So let her just wrestle. US Open Challenge. Let her wrestle. Give her let's just see her do the wrestling and let her get over through the wrestling. And if she could get to, I don't know why we are getting to Giulia. I'm just saying this based on, like, I couldn't really give my take at that time, but more of like she would fit best on Raw. I wish they could just get her back on Raw. And back to like the IC title. I would want to see Maxine do same. want them build and see where she goes from there. But right now, I understand that the bigger story is Becky and AJ, and they will just want to get right back to that.
Yeah, we'll see where that goes for that for Monday Night Raw. The Stranger Thing crossover. Want to see, get ready to have a lot of the cast members from the Netflix series. You're probably going to see Dustin. You're probably going to see, Elle. You're going to see all the different characters from the show, probably at ringside, ushered through the night, in and out. They're making a big deal, cross promotion there. It should be fun. It should be cool. For it on Monday night, and of course, it's a star-stuck Monday Night Raw. It's going to be good. I think we're going to get a full 3 hours of Monday Night Raw this Monday, because it's going to be really jam-packed, nostalgic. Probably be getting some nostalgic wrestlers coming back, like veterans, just to be in the ring or around in the backstage, all that stuff. And I think it's going to be a fun one for the WWE on Monday Night Raw. Then an event that's happening the following day that I think I'm going to be there in person at the Performance Center is for the NXT New Year's Evil. Want to be in the building. Some good matchups here. A card that I was intrigued by one, but I'm gonna leave that one for the end. We're gonna have a straight out grudge match. These two ladies want a piece of each other, and they cannot wait. Izzy Dame and Tatum Paxley. This is probably a blow off a feud here, or I see something happening with Izzy Dame. Could Tatum bring some partners to neutralize the culling? Don't know. We'll find out. That'll be a good one to watch. The rematch for the Women's North American title, Thea Hale versus Blake Monroe, where everyone thinks that this is Blake Monroe regaining her title from Thea Hale after that hiccup of a finish where Thea Hale just with the coffin drop, with the backdrop, coffin drop with the roll, then the backdrop, backdrop on Blake Monroe, just took her air out, knocked her out, knocked the wind out of her, where the referee went for the 3 cover. What made it worse was the production team playing in the wrong music of the person. They knew the finish, but not the mistake, the oops, and they hit the wrong button of the finisher of the winning opponent, in my opinion. Do you see Blake Monroe getting her Women's North American title back at New Year's Evil?
For me personally, I feel it's not needed no more, because right now Blake is ready. Like Blake has always been ready. I get we were hearing talks that she wanted to actually go to NXT and kind of like pay her dues and like just know how the system works. She's been a fan of WWE. She's a WWE fan, and she's made that clear, and she's always shown that through her post on X and all of that. So this is one of those people that we would want to send down to SmackDown as soon as possible, because SmackDown needs superstars at the moment, and she cuts it right now. No need keeping her there on NXT. We have ladies, move girls from Evolve, put them on NXT, let Tia run with the championship, let her go on a nice run, and at least up until the Mania season. I mean, she could. Can she do another year in NXT? Well, she can, because obviously, as it looks, they are moving Jordynne Grace. So let's move Blake Monroe too, and maybe have them go continue their feud over there. I don't think it's wise, except they just want to do for Shock TV and the first big NXT of the year. I know we already had, but like the first big one of the year, maybe for just shock value, they want to give Monroe back the championship. But I believe she's better off, not winning and just going, calling her up straight up to the main roster as soon as possible.
We're thinking the same. I think Thea Hale, that era, that mistake has opened up eyes for management or creative. You know what? Maybe we should allow Thea to see where it goes as a world champion. Let Blake chase for short, where Blake probably puts a career on the line. And if she does, or her NXT career, and then she goes to she's main roster ready for SmackDown. SmackDown could use a Blake Monroe. In fact, if there's a stop in England or the UK for either SmackDown, that's the brand. That's when I debut Blake Monroe to the SmackDown roster, signing as a free agent. I would have her sign with SmackDown and have her enter the Rumble and so forth for Blake Monroe. If she's ready, she doesn't need to be in NXT. It's a blessing. You know what? That misfortune, knocking the win, is a blessing in disguise. I think Thea Hale with the title looks cool, looks good. Although, her promo still was a little bit okay, I mean, me and Chef Dan was working about that outside of just wrestling, shooting the breeze. You had a week already and you're crying still with the world title. You should have said, you know what? You think it's a fluke? Come get it from me. There's no way in hell you're beating this from me. You know what? You might think it's a fluke. Try getting it now. I would have liked that and her just crying and man, I can't believe it. You've been crying a whole week, girl. Yeah, he made good points, and I wish I could take full credit on that one, but he did make good points. We were talking about that for Thea Hale, and I like Thea Hale with the title, something different. And Blake doesn't really quite need it. She needs to get elevated to the main roster. Like you said, there's plenty of women that are talented in Evolve. Plenty. We could have a list of women that they could bring. Kylie Armstrong should be getting I wish she would go to the main roster already in SmackDown. That's how much I think so highly of Kaylee Armstrong. She is that good. She fits the bill. She checks the box. I'm like, oh damn. Maybe her microphone skills. I haven't heard her cut too many promos, so I might be a little naive or maybe too uber of a fan to not see if she could cut the promo the way the main roster wants, or tell her story, or make you open your wallets to pay a ticket to see her. So I don't know that. So my point is they should give her an opportunity on the NXT main roster show going forward. Another match here for, speaking of Evolve, because I was in the building when this young lady beat Kaylee Armstrong for that Evolve World Champion. Kendall Grace trying to beat Kendall 2 belts, taking on JC Jane, a lady who knows about winning 2 titles and carrying the responsibility of 2 company brands on her shoulder. To me, the Women's Wrestler of the Year in 2025 when it comes to the NXT WWE brand. JC Jane will defend her NXT title against Kendall Gray. I don't see JC Jane losing the title here. I see Kendall getting betrayed by her own friend, and I'm like, why Ren? Why are they going to turn Ren heel? Because it's going to hit you. It's going to hurt you right in the heart.
Like, it's one of those things. First off, I know I've not been on the show for a very long time, and I'm so once again, shout out to you, Sake, for this opportunity. Kendall Gray has been one of the bright lights in the dark times for the women division over here, and it's so funny how it's as if she just came from nowhere. Talk about RKO out of nowhere, like she just came out of nowhere, and she's just so freaking good. So like it's as if you are watching Randy Orton. Like, I'm not trying to say she's, but like she's so smooth. Like, there's one of the moves she does where she's like a cartwheel and then she rolls and turning and then gives you off. I'm like, how does she do that? It's so good, and she was a standout. I remember watching the Premium Live event Deadline, where they had that women. Like, my God, when all of us were just popping in the house, we're like, who the hell is this girl? I'm like, ma, she is the newest kid on the block. And we were just popping and she's just so damn good. When did she start? I'm like, ma, I don't even know what she said, but this girl is so good. And I just hope they don't rush her, want her to have story, want her to have emotion, because right now we are just interested and intrigued by her movement in the ring. She's the newest thing on the block, so we want them to coat it with stories, with emotions, and like it's. I would want to like be interested. Like, I want to hear backstory. Who is Kendall Gray? Where is she from? What made her? How did she get into the WWE? Like, what makes her sad? What makes her happy? I want to something that Cody gave to us. You know how Cody cries every single time about his dad. Oh my goddamn dad. Oh my, like, I want something like that, and well, it's not like Cody. Cody cries every single time.
Unfortunately, you had to see the story, and I've been following Kendall Gray from Level Up. Before Level Up left the business, before the show got canceled, Level Up, she would team up with Carly Bright. I've seen her have her first television match, her match at the Performance Center. For Kendall Gray, is great to see her development. She kind of went away a little bit. I don't know if it was an injury or just a repacking scene to Evolve. Saw her wrestle, and they sent her to work with TNA for a while, part of the agreement. I remember, if you see some of my old videos 2 years ago we used to do SmackDown, and we used to watch along, and then we would go right into Level Up. We wouldn't end the stream. We would watch along Level Up when it used to come off after SmackDown, when Kendall Gray will come out with Carly Bright. I used to kind of paraphrase, joking around, that Kendall Gray is Shawn Michaels and Carly Bright was Triple H or Levesque, but the Hunter Hearst Helmsley before they formed DX, because they kind of remind me, they were always together at the hip. And I used to say that as a joke, but look at now with Kendall Gray, her wrestling ability. And again, there's a girl involved named Carly Bright, who's her friend, who have grown, and hopefully she could come up to speed with what Kendall Gray is doing, and keep an eye out for that name. But those two ladies, I've been watching her and level up, and it's great to see her putting it here and having the wrestling in 2025 now into 2026 slow down. It was so cool to see her win that Evolve Women's Champion. Did the right before they recorded it for their pay-per-view or their TV special that they had. They did it like a month before when there was the TNA invasion. They did that match. That was the opening match, and man, and it was like we waited like almost 3 weeks not to say anything, to be quiet. And I'm like, man, match of the year. I'm like, this match of the year. But Kendall Gray, phenomenal. But I don't think she wins. I think her friend betrays her. I think her friend turns on her, where we're not expecting Ren Sinclair to be a heel, and maybe because Ren is so sweet and so nice, it's hard for me to see her heel. But I think they're going to pull that trigger here in 2026 with Ren Sinclair.
Now that you just mentioned, I'm like, I remember watching NXT last week's show, and I saw somebody walk. I'm like, is that Kendall Gray? Like, I almost mistook Kendall Gray for Ren Sinclair because she was walking smoothly. So I'm like, when did Ren Sinclair get so good? It's so funny how you would be watching so many things and you just miss some of these growths and this evolution. And I'm like, wow. And just now that you're talking about Charlie Bright, I just remember she reminded me so much of Kelly Kelly. The young Kelly which because of the pink and white, and the way she's so girly, and she walks so good, and that was what really made me a fan of Kelly when Kelly was champion and a Divas champion then, and I'm like, wow. So it's kind of these kind of things that we want, something different, something fresh, not everybody trying to be a pro wrestler, but just trying to see what makes it work. And that's what really made Tiffany Stratton stand out as a wrestler, because personally for me, like when she started, I'm like, who's this one with handbags and sparkly things, and all of a sudden she became the standout for of the year 2024, and that's the same blueprint Roxanne took last year, becoming the workhorse. And I just believe someone like Kendall Gray can just be the same thing in 2026, where you're like, okay, who was the workhorse of the year? The Iron Woman, the woman that did everything. You point at Kendall Gray because she's just so fucking good. And shout out to Ren Sinclair too. She was amazing in that match that I watched last time. Like, wow, she has gotten so good. So now just need to get more personality, more good on the mic. Remember what you said about Tia Hill. Tia Hill has been here for years, but right now we are still complaining about the microphone because she has not had more time there. Why are you crying when you should be talking about something personal and all of that? Some of these things need to be worked on, and obviously thank God that they have the best team there in NXT to help them grow.
I second that, because and just to piggyback a little bit with Tia Hill should have made it personal. You thought it was a fluke? Address the audience, or not the audience, but the internet community that's saying that was a botch, a mistake. You don't have to say, oh yeah, I botched, I made a mistake. No, if you guys doubted that I took this title and I won it the way you think, not to your liking in your eyes, come and get it. I'm not crying anymore. You're gonna have to destroy me to take this title from me, because I burst my ass. So I've been here for years. Come and get a little look at the camera. I would have liked her to look right into the camera, point it, and get upset. You try to get this title. You come and say, it's a fluke. Come and get it. I would have liked that from Thea, to just go a little bit off color and look right into it and show that grit, that fire. Don't get my bubbly personality twisted. I will not relinquish this title or give it or lay down for anyone. Just simple would have been like, oh damn, she's really serious. And I think that would have hit for Thea Hill. I'm pretty sure the coaches talked to her about it, and they're going to make that there. At the moment you get caught up, I get it. It's live television. You have an audience of like 300 people. You get emotional with the people you see, and they cheering for you, and you get, I get it. You don't think at the moment. Some people don't have that instinct at the moment. Some do, and maybe some people take time to develop. I'm not gonna get too crazy about it. And JC Jane was that workhorse to me last year for NXT. And I think, and also Ren, and I think this year is going to be Kendall and Ren who are going to be the workhorse for NXT in 2026. That's just something that I see.
And this is why Sports Jedi Network is entirely different from every other, network out there, every other pro wrestling stuff out there, because we not as if like we take things personal, but we try to see how we can touch on facts and see how we can make it clearer for ourselves and those watching and listening to us. Because personally, you would want to see what you just said about Tia Hell. I personally thought we moved past this little girl because I believe she was like, I'm now a grown woman. So I would have loved, because she has a huge gripe against Blake Monroe. Blake just came in. Was it just yesterday? Okay, I would have loved something like, okay, because you think you are a star. I acknowledge that you are a star. You came from somewhere different. You would say I did not cut it, but girl, I've been here before you. I've walked my ass from being in the classroom to being in graduating to being the woman that I am today. I've been invented pay-per-views. I've tried to put myself on the spot. Just go in and tell yourself, talk your talk. You've been there. Yeah. And I might think, and all of you would say it was a fluke. And all of you will blame me for doing what I'm not supposed to do. But I'm here now. I'm the champion now. So you gotta face it, because I'm here and I'm here to stay. And if you think I'm gonna let someone like you walk in here and parade their way to the top, you will be joking, because the little girl that you thought that you saw in me last week, or the one you saw that nobody had, I am the woman, the grown woman that you would fear. Like something else. Don't go with the tears. I don't move past that shit. And I really did. It's so funny, and it's funny how Tia Hill's story kind of aligns with what JC Jane, but in a very different way. Because JC, personally for me, I never looked at JC as championship material. Just she's one of the lackeys for Mandy Rose. And you see how I love what Corey Graves used to call her the undesirable, because she wasn't, and she proved herself. I remember when I was watching the streams of JD and Solo Monster when they were doing their TNT, they are one of their Tuesday shows, and they got the news, and they're like who? JC Jane? And I got the joke there. So they were shocked. They were shocked, it's like JC Jane. What, like JC Jane? Like how? So it's one of those things, and you saw how the company piggyback off the fact that nobody believed in her, and they made her, she became a star, NXT champion, TNA champion, double champ. I mean, she's actually believable now. I could see her, and I'm I believe that she can actually cut it in the ring. So I can't wait to see where this lady go. I'm literally proud. It shows how NXT women, even as much as they've purged that division and taken their stars, you still have something in there. It's so crazy.
It is crazy. It is crazy on that. It is crazy. With that, and I got breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. I got some breaking news. I believe we have a new AEW World Champion. I think he goes by the name of Mike Santana. I'm not too sure if he won it, but I know he was taking on Nick Nemeth tonight. So I don't know if they did it that night, but Mike Santana beats Nick Nemeth at AEW. So is that something that's in the future for TNA? We might see those two men in the ring, where it's Mike Santana and Nick Nemeth. Remember, these guys call a shot gauntlet, but we'll get to the TNA talk here. Just wanted to give that little bit of a breaking news there that I'm seeing at AEW. Matt Cardona dropped this title there. He vacated. So just wanted to give that little bit of a break, a little bit different, something that we're, off topic, that we're conversating as we get to the main event. Is going to be the Rula from your neck of the woods, Uba Femi, taking on
our boy,
the young bruv, the youngest in charge. Let's go, Leon Slater. Let's go. I'm going for Slater on this. I think Uba's going to the main roster. What a way to boost TNA's, AMC's arrival, where Leon Slater shows up on that January 15th with two titles, the X Division champion, the NXT World Champion, where he's probably going to defend it against Reed, Myron Reed. He might lose that night to Myron Reed. Maybe some shenanigans with some NXT wrestlers coming in and costing him to lose that belt, and you have a feud. But man, I could see that Tuesday night, the young bruv, the youngest in charge, becoming NXT World Champion. Let's go, Leon.
It's funny how it would have been very easy for me to just side with our brother. I'm like, Oba is taking it home, Oba is bringing it home. But like, I want that man so bad in the main roster as quick as possible. A quick story here. It's not a nice main event. I put it on. We watched it live with family, everybody, all of the kids. Everybody knows Oba. We're like, Oba is coming. Oba is challenging Cody. I'm like, Oba is challenging Cody, and we all watch with keen interest. And everybody was so in it. It was as if we were one, because like he was waving the flag proudly for us. We were like, finally, somebody that we can jump on the bandwagon, on somebody that can actually bring visibility to the country, somebody that can actually maybe bring the company to the country. So we're like, this is the first time we have a shot at a star. And he looked so fucking good out there with Cody. He stood there with Drew, and it looked as if he could eat Drew for breakfast. And I'm like, this is it. But the Aziz could not cut it for us. Apollo Crews could not cut it for us. We have other Nigerians that could not cut it. This is the one that should cut it for us. This is the Ghana's Kofi Kingston. And I was so really proud. And right now, with him being in the NXT, I feel like right now he's so crazy how he's just 3 years into this game. And I'm like, is this good? So I can't wait. In as much as I was shocked that Javon cashed in earlier than he was supposed to. And I'm even more shocked that Leon Slater is having the opportunity to do this. And you're like, what are we going to see? And I'm also standing with you to say, I believe the young man from London, from the UK, is taking this home. And it's crazy. I can't wait. And that will be a huge thing for TNA, obviously going into their AMC debut. And it will also be a great thing for Leon Slater to call himself a world champion. No, NXT is not really, but NXT is a brand on its own. And that gives us something that we were robbed of in Bound for Glory. Because now, Javon has to be a human being and be like, okay, it was fun when we were tag team partners. It was fun when we were just going for the smaller titles. But you've got what I've been working hard for all year, last year, trying to get. And I know friendship is sweet and everything, but man, I want what you have. And I just want to, turn Javon's character up a notch. Have these two black men go out there and just go out there and give us a banger. Like literally, silently, they almost became the match of the year during that Bound for Glory match before they got ruined. Yeah. And it still topped my list there for me as one of the matches that I look forward to. You can imagine a match in TNA, a match with two young talents talking town, but nothing beats AJ and John Cena, but definitely those guys came close to doing that. And I'm just so excited for Leon Slater, and very much excited for what is to come with Obafemi.
And by the way, is Obafemi shirts? So that's from Flexway. Are you giving him shirts from your store?
I wish I could give him shirts from Flix, but if Obafemi wants something from Flixway, I'm definitely doing that for him, like free of charge. I'm sending it down to him for him. I
thought because every time he comes out, that looks like a Flexway shirt from the award-winning store.
I wish it was from I wish it was a Flixway shop. Amazing. But
anyway, we move on to a little bit of an inside joke. I know he appreciated that for our guy Samuel Lyons. He's in Nigeria, ladies and gentlemen. So we got an international. We are international. He's in Nigeria, late night there, joining us here talking some wrestling. That's the power of professional wrestling. We have a conversation with someone from Nigeria. I love that. Part of you see him here from time to time. That joins us on the pundit level here on our channel. Let's move on. Let's see. Hopefully, New Year's Evil brings in the heat. No pun intended here on NXT. Fully cool. I'm gonna go with TNA, and we'll do All Elite Wrestling because we were talking of TNA, and that this week is their final episode on Access TV. A new chapter closes, and a new era is about to begin for the All Elite, the TNA brand, for coming soon. And their final show from El Paso. One of the matches, it's the System is going to team up all together. The System one more last time as a group. We all know that at Genesis it's going to be JDC taking on Eddie Edwards at Genesis. That card is starting to shape itself. But that final match up there, you're going to have the Cedric Alexander, Leon Slater, and the Hardys taking on the System. That's going to be a hell of a match there. All members there. That one more last run. Steve Macklin trying to get his title back, his international title, will take on Channing Stacks Lorenzo for the champion. Kenny defended against a really hot, pissed off Macklin who wants to tag him and bag him and send him back to NXT in a body bag. And of course, we're gonna have a contract signing from Frankie Kazarian and Mike Santana, which we found out that it was moved from Genesis to the main event of the AMC debut on Thursday night. So interesting, because Nick Nemeth still has your gauntlet to call his shot. That could be some shenanigans where the match is coming to an end. We might get a new champion, and Mike and Nick Nemeth could cash in, and all hell could break loose again. For Mike, I think everyone in TNA is invested in Mike Santana getting another title run, an opportunity. We'll see if that happens, or he has to turn around and defend his title for sure on Genesis. And seeing Santino Marella a little bit disheveled, hurt what his daughter did, turning on him for Stacks. He looks totally not Santino-like, down in the dumps. There's going to be more to that going forward with Santino. There's some story being told with TNA here. Order 4 with Mustafa Ali and Elias. Those two guys have some issues, some unresolved. We saw, last Mustafa Ali was taken out of the arena via horse, and then, Elias helped out the hometown man, where Elias hits the guitar shot and all good stuff there. So there's some bad blood for Elias and Mustafa Ali. It should be a great match if they do that at a Genesis or the TV tapings. Don't have the full slate on it because I don't know what they're going to give us this Thursday. I just tried to pull up and I couldn't get all that. But my point, AMC, they're going to say goodbye to Access TV. Still recording from El Paso, but I cannot wait we'll break that down next week as well for their AMC debut. All that is cool. I still want to see, I think we're going to see TNA World Title on Leon Slater. I could see AJ Styles popping up now that he's a singles competitor, possibly somehow stopping Nick Nemeth from winning that world, cashing that gauntlet there. And Santana beats Frankie Kazarian. And then for Genesis, it's Nick Nemeth, Mike Santana at Genesis, and Frankie Kazarian versus AJ Styles at Genesis for TNA. I'm like, whoa, and that was all set up on AMC. You're like, oh, wow. I can see that happening there, it's right up and going, and you have some AJ Styles run in NXT, where maybe AJ doesn't want to travel right away in the European tour immediately and work with TNA a little bit there. I could even see Chris Jericho coming out. I've said that, if we don't see Jericho on Monday Night Raw, I could see Jericho coming out, having a program. I don't know with who, with what, but then, that's for them in creative. I could see something along that. Instead of AJ Styles, could be Chris Jericho. I don't know. I think it'll be more, it fits more Styles because it fits more of a TNA brand. But I'm excited to see what TNA does. And note, this Wednesday, I don't have the time. We have the time, but we don't know when we're going to air it. We have an sit-down interview with TNA star Jody Threat, where we're going to be conversating with the Knockouts, one former tag team Knockouts champion from Spitfire. We're going to talk to the Wild Child, Jody Threat. We got tomorrow, I make an announcement. Independent wrestler, you see her on a hell of a match on the Ring of Honor. You have to check it out. She took on Velvet Sky for the television title. Janai Kai will be back on our channel. We will be having a conversation with her tomorrow in the afternoon. That's going to be released. We'll be talking to her. Then Monday, we've got La Leona from Central America, from El Salvador. independent wrestler here in the United States, hails from El Salvador, bringing that Central America fire to the Sports Jedi Network. Alejandra La Leona is going to join us. We're going to have a conversation with her. We want to hear her story, her journey, and what 2025 and 2026 is going to bring for La Leona, as well as Janai Kai here on the Sports Jedi Network. And we got some more interviews. We're waiting confirmation. I have to check my emails. The whole week might be full with a lot of content, a lot of interviews. So we're getting back into that interview situation with a lot of the men and women from not just the independent scene, from the TNA, and hopefully soon some WWE, AEW wrestlers on our channel. Hopefully in the near future. We're working on it really extremely hard. So I wanted to make sure that we give that announcement as well here on our wrestling channel. And of course, so let's get right into anything you want to add to TNA before we go to All Elite Wrestling.
I just want to what is it with sport brats, turning on their dads, and this first it was Dominic Mysterio, then we have whatever, what's it with sport brats? Their dads will be on the road breaking their backs for them, and you have them ungrateful brats saying how he did this to me. I mean, come on, what is it with the brats not being grateful over there? Can you feel me on that? Because I'm come on. I mean, she's working with NXT, her dad is working for TNA. She's been given a great life. I mean, she has a good-looking man with. What else does she need? What does she want from her dad right now? I just need to feel in on that.
You know what? I couldn't tell you, but if you have a daughter and you're always arguing with your daughter, you will relate to it. Those men and women that have daughters, the men that have daughters, they could relate the love and hate relationship that Santino and maybe possibly Adriana, Vince and Steffi, so forth and so forth, Ric Flair and Charlotte Flair, all that back and forth. We've seen it time and time again. You can relate to it. Or brothers turning on brothers when it comes to either, we've seen it plenty of time, probably the Hardys, I believe. We're probably going to see it with the Nemets in 2026. Who knows? But that's something that's like wrestling 101. The turn of the sibling rivalry. The paternal turning. So I could see it. I could. You know what? It's cool. You know what? I enjoyed to see when Adriana Grace showed up and Santino's reaction when he got excited when they did the first time they crossed over on television screen together. It was genuine of excitement of, wow, my little Bianca's on TV with Adriana, and of course, and it was great to see that. I remember Santino when I interviewed Santino earlier in September. I asked him those exact questions. About that, and he, you can check it out on our channel on Sports Jedi Network when me and Santino had a nice conversation, and that was something very genuine. I really felt that warmth when he shared the screen with his daughter. Now in a feud, in the heel feud, where now they're opposing. They're no longer. It's interesting the dynamic to see where they go. They're going to sprinkle a little animosity, possibly airing out a little bit of some personal grievances that, at least for us as fans, we'll get to see it come through, how we resonated, how we register it. It's fun to see that with Santino and Adriana. I'm going forward. We'll see how that goes for them there. All right, let's go to the company that bleeds and bleeds some more and wants you to bleed and bleed some more. All Elite Wrestling. They're coming from the Bunk Center in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I believe right now the only thing I saw scheduled. And I know they'll fill the card up because that's what Tony Khan likes to do. He'll ask Gronk. He's liking things that Gronk, he knows he uses Gronk. He likes the fact that Gronk erased the character for Booker and stuff. He loves it. And Tony Khan and Gronk, that's something, that's a 1 in a million. That's a pair. They love each other.
Gronk and Khan.
Yeah, Gronk and Khan. So that sounds like they're going to run for office in 2028. Lights out match. You're going to have, so far presented as a lights out match. Hangman and Swerve Strickland, they're going to take on 2/3 of the ops in Hook and Powerhouse Hobbs. Lights out match. I'm pretty sure, I guess they turn the lights off and they're going to fight with a dark arena. Maybe that's what they're going to call it because they don't want to show you there's only 800 people in the arena and they don't want to show the dark. So they're going to turn the lights down on there. And John Moxley takes on Shelton Benjamin in a Continental Championship title eliminator. Now, I'm okay with John Moxley being a fighting champion, and I have that problem with sometimes with WWE has done it as well. these title eliminations. I'm gonna wrestle the champion, but if I beat him, I get a title opportunity. No, if you beat the champion that one time, you should be champion. Not that I don't like it. It's like I'm gonna you're a boxer. Well, if you're gonna box Mike Tyson, and if you beat Tyson, you get to fight him for the world title next time around. Shoot, you beat Tyson. You don't want to fight Tyson. I got the title. I'm moving on. I escaped from my life. I'm just saying. I don't like the analogy. Or I'm going against I'm going against Khabib Hamabel. If I beat Khabib, I don't know if I want to get in the cage with him again. That guy kicks my ass. So I don't like the title eliminators. Samuel, I find it kind of goofy.
It's kind of meaningless because, like, if I'm a wrestler and I'm being told, next week you're facing John Moxley for a title eliminator, I'll be like, no, maybe you can give it to somebody else. If it's not for the title, then I'm not doing. Because why the hell would I want to go through John Moxley without a gold in front of me? I mean, you have the gold there. You can put it on like you're fighting champion. Let's do it for the championship. At least it gives the unpredictability of like, oh, I might win, I might not win. And with the looming cloud of like, is his team going to turn on him? That's another one that I would want them to, touch on. So I'm like, it right now, it's so predictable. Because do you think Moxley's losing that championship right after I just won it last week? No way. So these are the small things. These are the small things we would want them to change or work on. I'm like, okay, let's make it a championship match, or just don't even call it. Just say a non-title match. What do we eliminate? What's the meaning of that? That is not on the line. It's one-on-one match. Leave it than trying to put all this caveat on it and not giving him the real thing. So I don't. And why is I need to say this because I watched the show and I'm like, Moxley won. Like, Moxley should not even be shouldn't even be at work. Moxley should have gone home after All In. How would I miss you if you don't go away? Like, what is he trying to prove? I'm like, this man is still here. Doing what? Fighting every week. And like, he's like, right now, I will blame Hangman Page on holding a title run on Moxley because the person everybody fought all year to win. He won the person. You should have at least saw the effects. Moxley was back in next Wednesday wrestling a championship match. I mean, you almost died. You tapped out of pain, wrapped around your chain. You did not even sell that. Like, he did not go away. He's still here. Now he's causing a babyface promo. Oh, this company. I'm like, what am I watching?
Yeah, that was a little bit weird to see him cut a babyface promo at the World's End. We haven't talked about that either. So we're gonna do a little, not too much. We don't want to take too much time of the World's End because that already happened on news. But we didn't get to react or say. We watched it. I did watch along on it. I had to leave at the end of. I left on a couple of matches because my wife had a flat tire, whatever. I couldn't. I got back. You know what? Funny. I went to drive, fix a flat tire, and got back. Only miss was the women's world title between Statlander match. I missed that one and Timmy Hayter, and I caught half of the and I missed half of the Moxley Okada match. Everything else I seen. That's how long it took me to fix the flat. My point was, then I hear John Moxley cut the babyface promo, and I thought that the Death Riders were going to jump him because he was babyface. It's like, okay, this is Ryu, where he first said he was saying that this company sucked, pretty much paraphrasing, like doesn't deserve these titles, and they're going to change the way this company is. And now you're saying, oh, this were the best. I mean, it felt mixed signals from John Moxley, like he's nuts, literally. Kind of Ultimate Warriors type of promo there. And the Death Riders, I don't even think the Death Riders know where they're going to go with this story. The members. So there is no real direction. They're just flying by the seat of their pants when it comes to the Death Riders. But I'll be honest with you. I actually am, as much as I'm going to be one of the minorities to say this, I kind of like Moxley winning that title. I know there's so many mid-card titles. There's 4 because they broke it off and all that stuff. I kind of do want to see Moxley with that title. I think still Illinois with him with a title kind of feels right with AEW, even though some people might not like it or whatever the case is. It does kind of feel, and me from the outside, because he's a credible name that even if you're a casual that don't want to watch AEW, but you know who Moxley is, you can follow it. Oh, he's champion. Oh, all right. You kind of watch it from the highlights more, but then just someone who you don't know. Like, I don't like. Why am I wouldn't care who the hell is the time. He's not the world champion. He's your continental champion, but still, it's a title where you can still focus on Moxley. And Maxwell Jacob Freeman winning the world title, much needed. But here's the thing. Is he going to be still part-timer? Because he's still making a movie. He's still going away to make movies. Now, it doesn't matter. They needed Max to win that world title. I don't think we're going to find out in the next, I'm going to give it a month. Let's find out a month, although the rating system is very antiquated. It's very old. Sometimes it's not great. But I guarantee this. If those ratings start going up because of Max, the sickos are going to throw up a confetti party saying, "Oh, you see, he's a draw." But if they don't, they're gonna say it's antiquated. You cannot have them both ways. You can't be pregnant. Either you're full pregnant, half pregnant. You can't be half pregnant. You're pregnant, not pregnant. When it comes to the ratings, do you use the barometer of the rating system to tell where your product is, or you don't? And if the ratings go up, if they acknowledge it, so they have to acknowledge the bad part of it as well. Same thing goes for SmackDown and Raw and all these systems. And it's not about competing at this time. It's about making the product better. Who cares if they're not the same numbers as NXT, or if NXT is higher than AEW? That's for the people to engagement form on the internet. I want to see them grow when it comes to the attendance. And I'm not talking about their pay-per-views, because most of the time there's a lot of these people that want to go in for comp tickets, and they'll make the trip. And they'll go in droves, and Khan does give a lot of comps tickets. People buy it, yes, they do, but there's a lot of in the thousands of comps tickets. I want to see people go on a Wednesday to these shows. Make the company rebook venues to accommodate the demand of the crowds. When I mean, if they're booking for a 3,000 seat arena and the demand is for 5,000, they got to look for now a 7,000 seat arena. Let them have to make that logistic nightmare for people in AEW to earn their money to look for bigger venues, because the demand of the tickets and of the product is overwhelming in 2026. That's how you're going to know your product is growing. And I hope they do that.
It's funny how it's not as if the way the company is now is not how it was when they started. When AEW started, I remember they always had their matches announced. And it's not as if they had stories. It was always where the best wrestle, right? Before the time where the best wrestle came in, they were where you go in to watch your best pro wrestling. And people will be like, now that's why when you say something about AEW now, and I'm like, oh, why would I come in onto Wednesday and I don't even know what's gonna happen? And maybe Wednesday afternoon or evening, Tony's not announcing, and we just have a bunch of matches that has little to no stories, and there's no like 2 or 3 major stories that will be like, oh, I can't wait to tune in next week for. Like, what are the 2 to 3 majors like I just can't wait to tune in. Everything is about like what we produce for today, and when we are done with today, we forget about everything that happened today. We'll just jump into the next thing next week. It's all about like we can't use the same format for the past 6 to 7 years, and you still think you would stick around. That's why the attendance weekly is suffering. That's why most of us have jumped into like, oh, we only watch during pay-per-views, or we check highlights on YouTube and follow up on like, okay, so what's really happening? Or we are on X, and like, oh, no, this happened. Like, okay, let's go check it out. You get to have us turn to casuals because of this, except the hardcore ones, right? Because at the end of the day, MJF cannot carry this company on its own. Now they're even making his heel stick look lame. Because you're like, I mean, come on, he's going to come out here, insult your dead dad, insult your mom, call your mom a whore, call your wife like he's literally going to do all of that. And you're like, okay, so what next? And then a championship match, and MJF will prove himself. And at this point, he doesn't even have who to play off of. Like where is the talents? Like I want the stories. This company, like AEW can give out best matches, 5 star, 10, anyhow many stars from while sleeping. Nobody's doubting that. We just want emotions. I want to come in because want to see what Drew McIntyre wants to do to Cody. I want to see what Punk wants to do to Braun. I want to see what Rhea Ripley wants to do to Oscar. That's the kind of thing I want to see on AEW, and we are barely getting things like that. Everything is about shock value. Look at what happened with Mercedes Moné. I mean, you built this woman to be one of the biggest stars, one of the, like, she was, flushing everybody out. And you gave the win away for shock value. No story, no rhyme or reason, shock. She just lost on a random Wednesday. And just like that. Who would care about her? No, like, I don't give a damn now. At this point, I don't give a damn. If we are going to be going on the track of like, oh, Mercedes is losing all her championship, what happens to have her lose all of these random, relevant, irrelevant championships she's holding? And then she will now be left with the TBS and have the commentaries talk about, oh, my goodness, she's lost everything. The only thing she has left is what she gained first. That was the first championship she won when she came in here, and she has that one left. What happens if she loses this? Have Mercedes looks like a shovel, like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I have only this one left. I'd rather die than lose this championship. Have all the women try to come beat her for that, and they don't succeed. And then choose the one person that you would want, that anybody that wins Mercedes is the next top star. But no, let's give it all away. And to give it to Willow, someone that just won the tag team championship, she should be focused on the tag team division, focus on how to elevate the tag team.
That was a disconnect.
Now she is the TBS. So how is she going to tell stories with the tag team championship and tell stories with the TBS champion?
Yeah.
Like, what is going on? It's as if this man wakes up and asks Grok. Obviously, Grok is his best friend now. Grok, what do you think we should do to do? Okay, have her lose to who she won it from. Who did Mercedes win the championship from? Willow. Oh, yeah, give it to Willow. It feels that way. Everything is just.
And that story could have gotten us invested if they would have done it from the beginning, Willow and Mercedes, because you could have even done that. That was why Mercedes came to the company because Willow took her title when she got injured with that time back then, but they never even told that story. Like, she needs to, like you and I'm happy for Willow winning the title, but like you said, now you convoluted two titles on one girl again. Like, unless if they're really going to turn around where they're going to, and then it's going to hurt poor Harley Cameron if they make them drop their tag team titles, because Willow is their television champion, which is kind of funny, because I don't know, they putting themselves in a very negative creative situation, a no-win situation. It was a great moment and the thing is, like you said, that 31st holiday or New Year's bash for AEW, I don't think a lot of people watched it. That's a tough one. You're going to ask wrestling. Yes. You're going to ask people to stay home on New Year's Eve to watch that show, unless they recorded it and watch it. I didn't watch it. People are going to go celebrate. If they're younger, if they're demographic young, they're going to go watch the ball drop, whether it's family members, parties. It's a time for to drink, party, be merry, do something, do nothing. They're not going to sit around and watch the show. So that was a tough one. That was tough for them to do that. They kind of pigeon themselves on that there. It's like, and those are the kind of decisions without thinking, and that's why the company's in the situation that they're in. They're like you said, they book matches, but after a while, you now it's 5 years. You can't give everyone dream matches because all the dreams have been lived out already, pretty much.
It was fun when we had it. Oh, dream match. Like we've run out of dream matches. What dream
matches run out? You ran out of dream matches. Other than getting Roman Reigns into the company, Brock Lesnar, John Cena, you're not going to get any really much more dream matches. You're running out in AEW with it, so you have to now tell episodic stories with the talent you have. and it's the problem. And it's just tough one with all and the money that the gentleman has. I know he brought in Janine Peppermill to supposedly write Renee's story, but Renee hasn't been in no good storyline. I mean, what is Janine Peppermill doing? I mean, she's supposed to be a writer. What are we writing?
Oh, she's writing all right. She's writing very well, impeccable TV. She's been writing since she came in. What about Will Washington? Quit his podcast, his shitty podcast. Go Wednesday to do what? To follow Tony and carry his bags, because I'm not seeing what he's doing there.
Will Washington, what he's doing is watching all the podcasters who doesn't talk positive about AEW, has a list, and when you ask for credentials, you get denied, like us and others, like JD from New York. But like Denise Salcedo, who can have another, she gets those credentials, and others, all the people that glaze All Elite Wrestling, they'll get credentials. Now they got the podcast reactionary podcasters like the Con Man, like the Mini Portal, like the Wheezy, the yada yada. Because they're glazing now the company, they get treated well through Bill Washington, who watches the internet, and he's probably watching this right now and says, "Oh, that's why I don't give them tickets." You know, I asked for Collision tickets. They gave me one, and they gave it to me at 3:00 in the afternoon when the show was supposed to start at 7. And I'm in Orlando, and I have to go to Lakeland. That's an hour and a half drive with traffic. One ticket. I'm like, can I get two so I could bring someone with one for media credentials? One ticket. I didn't go. I said thank you. It's too late. You could have gave me 24 hours, so don't. But I came home from work, took a shower, waited 3:00 in the afternoon. I have it there. I have it in my email box. 3:00 when the show starts at 7. It's not enough time. One ticket too. One time I had to drive to Lakeland and get ready, and that was not enough time. And I wanted to go give AEW my undivided attention and see it in person. You know, I have bought tickets for my sons whenever they come to World's End last year. January here for Dynamite, I'm contemplating if we could go or not. But after that, it's like I can see why people have a negative stigma, and that's what I think Washington works with that behind the scenes with when it comes to the social media stuff and denying who gets what. That's the way I feel. I mean, how many times I've asked for talent to come and conversate and have an interview? I'm not getting them. I've asked. I've done the proper channels. Ask. How come when I go to Anthem Sports, Anthem gives me anyone I want, you know, with respect. Not everyone exactly, but when I ask, I get an 80%, 85% okay with Anthem. And I mean, it's not like these people are lining up the world in interviews with All Elite Wrestling. They can use people to show, to tell their story to common wrestling fans. I don't get it. But we want it to succeed. We want it to work. My gripe is management. The creative, the stupidity with the creative, the marketing with the company. To me, that's my gripe when it comes to AEW. Stop being WWE. Don't copy and paste them. Oh, they did this. I got to be All Elite Wrestling. Be elite and do something different. That's all you have to do. People see when you're bullshitting imposter, and they turned off, Samuel.
Where is their market? Like at this point, I'm like, where is their PR? Like I'm not even seeing AEW's public relations. I'm not even seeing their marketing. Didn't they bring in Madison Rain one time with Pepperman and the rest to help boost?
She retired. She went. They brought her in. They brought her in to be a Ring of Honor talent. She don't want a real talent. She was brought in for something else.
She was
Jeff Jarrett.
Like where is she?
Jeff Jarrett. Another one was supposed to be live event coordinator, some nonsense for Jeff Jarrett. They put him in a storyline where, and then they when no one wanted it and the fans started revoking, they put him now to be a slapnut on the freaking post show.
Was that not the position he was working for with WWE, and he was doing a great
Yes.
job? What happens when he's not? And that was when he was with a massive team. Now you are with a smaller team where you could bring those expertise. Why is that not working out?
They're not doing it, and the thing is, they have money. It's not like they're going over to Anthem and TNA where there's a limited amount of budget. Tony Khan has supposedly he has this deep pockets and there are money is no objection. Well, there's a time and place to spend the money wisely. If marketing, promotion, going out there and letting not one thing I gotta love about again, it's not about it. The TNA does. They get the beat teams going. They get the promotion. They get the word of mouth out there. We're gonna be in El Paso. They do medias. They send people here. They do this. They get the people going.
I rarely see an AEW talent interview. They don't even let them do interviews. They don't even let them do podcasts. They don't even I mean, come on. How are we going to connect if we're not even hearing stories out there? I don't mean coming there to like they're not even doing things. I mean, you have WWE. I get WWE. They like controlling their narrative. WWE now they've signed deals with fanatics. They're doing their own podcast. Like they're controlling their narrative. But at least they are putting their talents out there. They are doing something. They are going impulsive podcast. They are doing other podcasts. I mean, at least even though it's with people that they know, but at least they're doing something out there. Where is AEW's own? They have their own podcast. Nobody listens to it. It's not even going viral. It's not even. They are not even using now. All of the people that glaze them. Why don't they send their talents over there to go glaze them? At least let them do something. They're not even doing anything. And Tony comes out there. Everything is so great. I trust me. I watch every media scrum after the pay-per-views just to have a good laugh. Because I lost in there and like you see them, hey Tony, what was your take about the collision match? I'm like, bitch, you had the one opportunity to ask this man a good question, and you asked him about a collision match. What was I'm like, is this who approved? I'm just hearing questions. Oh, Tony, what coffee?
Because if you ask them tough questions, you're not going back. And you're not getting credentials. You're not getting tickets to these shows. That's simple. But then, is that really journalism? Is that really fair, biased? And of course, and we got to call them journalism because you are a journalist. You're reporting and you're speaking about the wrestling show. That's not fair and unbiased journalism. If you're going to be, and you're afraid of asking a question because you're going to lose the opportunity to return to the show, but if that question is on your mind as a journalist, if that's on your mind, is that a concern? Ask it. Don't ask a question to cover up favor with him. I mean, yes, it doesn't mean you have to go out there and be disrespectful either. You're not going to go to the man's media or his company and be disrespectful either, and go and say something nasty or negative. No, you have to be professional. You could ask a question professionally and try a tough question and know how to ask the question properly. And that's the problem, I think, maybe with the wrestling journalism. Doesn't know how to ask the proper question without being disrespectful or crossing the line. Maybe they're afraid of it. I don't know. I'm trying to see myself in that other foot. If I'm in that position of asking a question to someone, I've asked questions to Carlos Silva. I've asked questions, to the president of TNA. I've asked questions about certain things, wrestling contracts. Afraid of talent being poached by the WWE. Who wants to hear that you're going to lose your top talent like a Joe Hendry? We asked that question to him when we had him on, but we worded it in a way that is respectful. If you're respectful and you bring it and you could get the correct question, he has the right to say, I'll move on. You know what? And he said, this is the goal. We want to make sure that our talents be able to make that money, whether it's not here in TNA, somewhere else, where they could use this platform to grow. I mean, you could see the interview with me and Chris with Carlos Silva. He mentioned that that's one of the goals, to help talents make money to either with TNA or outside of TNA to get them to the WWE. That's something they want, and that's something they strive for, and that's what we want. There's ways of asking the tough questions. Don't be afraid. If you're a podcaster or you want to get into podcasting, I don't have this formula to this. Obviously not, because but I'm trying to work on that, and I'm trying to be respectful. I would ask the question that if someone was asking me how I feel. That's the way I say it. If someone's asking me a tough question about anything, my finances, how would I answer, or how I receive it? The same way you want to be judged, you judge others. That's the same way I go with trying to ask questions to anyone I interview. That's why when I try to get wrestling talents on, I don't want to go in their personal life. That's their personal life. It's none of my business. I want to know about their journey in professional wrestling. And it might be, I don't care about who they're romantically involved when I mean personal. That's why I keep everything professional. Want to know their story. If when they're a kid and all that's the most personal we get. How did you fall in love with professional wrestling? Those type of things. Be respectful. And I think you get a long way with these wrestling talents if you are respectful and you can get the answers you want. I'm not saying that I have the perfect answer either. I don't. But we'd love to have an opportunity to talk to Mr. Khan. Have a conversation. Hey, I don't agree with his method, but I would love to have it. Maybe having a conversation, I understand where he's coming from, where is he's thinking, you know. And all of the elite wrestlers, we would love to have all elite wrestlers come on and have a conversation. We're not going to say, "Well, your product sucks." No, that's disrespectful. That's being a douche, a disrespectful. No one has time for disrespect. No, we want to have the just conversation with anyone from All Elite Wrestling. Tell us what your goals are in the company. What do you want? What are you looking for? What do you tell us about the camaraderie, the friendship, the love that you have in the room locker room when you know who's some of the guys you go to for advice. You gotta simple stuff as a fan. Get to know the fan. Get to hear their stories. Get to know that those wrestlers go through the same struggles as us as human beings. You know, as us audience viewers, you know, they go through the same thing in different ways. You know, they got bills to pay, they've got flight delays, you know, we get stuck in traffic, all that stuff. That's why we want to do those interviews when it comes to AEW. They need to do a better job in 2026 to go out there and not just the Sean Ross saps. Give the little guys, get the guys something to eat, because we know there's give some others, you know. I'm glad that he allowed at the end of the year some folks to go on Hawani. You know, himself going on Ariel Hawani was a good thing to hear from Tony Khan, to hear the other talent, Ricochet and others that were on. That was good. That humanizes them. You get to hear from them. You get to hear stories about them. And you get to see that. I hope that happens where we could see more of everyone from All Elite Wrestling, from all different aspects, come on the show, or not just here, but Ariel Hawani, Chris Van Fleet, wherever, and listen and hear about them. I think it helps AEW. It does help AEW if they continue to, you know, personally, I thought the Darby Allin interview, I think the kid is out there. I think the kid has a loose screws, but it was good to see that. He's one of those guys that is a freak. You got to find out who Darby Allin is, what makes him tick, what makes him go, how he thinks. That's cool. I like that. I love that, to see that for AEW. We want AEW to succeed. Because competition brings out the best of everyone. If you don't tell me the number one podcasters out there, you know, that if someone's coming on their tail, they're going to ump their game. They're going to do something different. They're going to probably treat their audience nicer. They won't curse at their audience. They won't call them retards. They won't kick them off for disagreeing with them. If you have another podcaster on their heels for competition, you know, it works. You know, or someone else is beating you to give out wrestling scoops or information. That wrestling dirt sheet is going to now work harder to find out more sources. Everything in life is, there's always someone that's up and coming, looking at more hungry, that want to be better. And if that competition brings out the best of the best, and it brings, and cream rises to the top, you always need that. That's why we want, in wrestling, we want those companies like a TNA, AEW, AAA to keep rising and raising the bar, because it's going to make the machine WWE even more better, more exciting. And we're going to have more excitement to talk about them and enjoy watching it, instead of being so negative. All you see, 90% of these podcasters are negativity. They don't like this, they don't like that. We just got up, we just said what we didn't like about AEW right now, and a little bit of W. You know, it's just because we care. We want things to get fixed. We want it to get fixed. We want it better. We want to enjoy our escape and our time that we're investing in this product and all the products.
And that's just basically it, because I don't think anybody out there that would literally want the company to fail. Definitely not me. I don't sit here praying that somebody's company that because no matter how you think and say, oh, Tony got is deep, his pocket is deep, end of the day he still is moving money from there to pay to get things done. I'm not praying for somebody's business to fail. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to also sit down here and get fed trash, and then I'll be eating just because you are spoon feeding me. So it's just a whole lot. And I'm like, I complain as a fan. I remember when I couldn't wait for Wednesday to see where the company goes. And now Wednesday passes and I don't even give a damn. I'm like, goodness gracious. And that's wrong. That's not fair to them. That's not fair to him as a person. I literally watch the interview with Ariel Awani live over here in Nigeria. That was around 8 to 9 p.m. I was it 7 to 8, and I watched it with the entire family. I'm like, okay, come see the CEO, the regional manager, the founder, the owner of AEW. And my girlfriend was like, who? I'm like, just have a seat. And we sat down to listen to him talk. And most of them was like, what is he even talking about? And I'm like, that's somebody that is like that was waiting to hear. And he went there to politic the entire interview. It sounded more like John Cena or Cody Rhodes, as if they are contesting for election. They are just there, glazing and glazing and glazing. And I love the fact that he was like, oh, thank you for the question, but he wouldn't answer it. He would just spin it, classic Tony. He gave nothing in that interview. He gave nothing. The only thing I took from that interview was he clearly sat down and told us that he allowed these wrestlers go out there and do what they want to do. And he sits there and booked the match and just let it happen. And he also went out there to tell me that he is the one that is doing everything. Not only does he come out in titles, he's actually everything in that company. When does he breathe? Does he's not saying he has like a how many man team that he throws ideas to. Is that what it should be about? Each community is big enough to have their own creative team that goes to meeting, that works weekly. How can we act stories? At one point, Hook was one of the biggest youngest star, and we were like, Hook was even bigger than Dominic Mysterio. Look at them today, the same neck and neck young stars. Now Hook cannot even compare. Hook cannot even compare to even Dominic in any way, shape, or form. That's what the creative have done to him. They messed it all up. Those are the things that we're talking about here. Those are the things that I want to see change. Don't you can have a match. If not, wrestlers will keep walking away. What happens
Not only
when,
that, Samuel, I switched.
Sasha or leaves?
I just looked at Collision, a clip on online. Right, this is the problem when it comes to All Elite.
Okay,
they had Collision tonight. Why is Sammy Guevara pretending to be Dominic Mysterio with the mustache? Be yourself. Why you have to copy, infringe? This is where they get the. Sammy Guevara doesn't need that. Guevara is so talented. ¿Por qué? Why is he getting a Dominic Mysterio mustache and glasses? And it's like he wants to challenge Bandito for the Ring of Honor champion with the stupid. You got to look at the clip. I'm like, why? Why are you copying? It's so Dominic. It's copy and pasting Dominic Mysterio. All I want be their islands of relevancy. If people see the bullshit from a mile away and they get turned off, and then they get mad with tribalism. But you're feeding into it by impersonating someone else. If I were to come on here and I get a Corvette in my intro, running down the city beautiful of Orlando, generated, and then I'm going to my sister's ass or my sister's basement, am I copying JD from New York? Absolutely. Isn't that personally? People are going to see the bullshit. And I put, instead of rock music, I'm going to put all hip hop as I'm floating down Orlando, Florida, in my background. And then when I come in, you set up the venue. You're going to my restaurant to eat from Chef Dan's. If I make a video intro just like JD from New York, I'm copying, I'm impersonating. People see the bullshit. There is no originality, authenticity, and that's the problem. What happens when all AEW? It's just not. It's like it's okay to borrow some stuff here, but everything seems like they're just. Look at their handbook and let's copy and paste. Let's do the same thing here, but our version. It's like, what are we doing? I just saw that right now, and I'm like, holy shit. We just can't help themselves. But we're going to end with that because I don't want to get to the point of being toxic negative. People are tired of that shit. We want something for them to get good. We want something great. We want something good here for all companies. We got SmackDown, hopefully they could turn a corner from 3 hours and give us some good wrestling. It's only one episode, and there's still 50 plus more of a week of SmackDown. Hopefully they could get something in the right track. Monday Night Raw, hopefully that's not a dud. and so forth. TNA on AMC, they got now all their bar has just risen. They're no longer the feel-good story of 2025. Now there's expectations. They have to fulfill now those expectations with when it comes to TNA. Now you got a TV deal. You got 65 million family homes watching you now, whether it's whichever way they could consume the product. Now it's time, creative. I know the talent is there. Go and now take the company to another level and, exceed. You did good here in 25. Now you got to raise the bar up. For AEW, they had a little down here in 2025, not according to the owner. They had their best year. But okay, if you had your best year creative, now you know what? Now let's strive to get the houses and the asses in the seats better than you did in 2025. Then, if you had a great year creative, we're not going to argue. We agree to disagree. Go and now make the houses the way you did back in 2021, or give me half of what you did in 2021. Now, no 1,800 seat bingo halls or theaters. Let's see you now in 4,000 seat arenas, 5,000 seat arenas, not 10, not the NBA hockey arenas. Give me somewhere where you can now give 5,000 people on a consistent Wednesday nights. Fair? I think it's fair. And then your pay-per-views, fill the fucking house up. 15,000 plus. Go for it. That's something they need to strive for, because I've said it time and time again. This all in Wembley, they need 55,000 in that arena, because that's going to tell the cable or your next television deal, they're going to keep, that's when the clock starts for competitors to watch your product. If you could draw houses, if you could draw people, if there's an interest in your product and how much money they're going to give you for a multi-year deal on any other network. And I think that happens with Wembley. If Wembley could get 55,000, which they're going to get a nice television deal somewhere or a streaming platform. If they're under and they underperform and that Wembley arena is, I say like this year at 24,000, they're in some trouble for a TV deal, in my opinion. That's just my opinion, but hopefully not. I hope they fill that in Europe in the summer. I hope that gets the same because I looked great on TV aesthetically, despite the fact of all the negative crap that happened with Punk and all that. But hopefully they do well. But Samuel, I want to thank you for joining me here this evening.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Appreciate you jumping on. I want to give this closing out here. You can follow Samuel Lyons there on Hello Media. You can follow him on X. You can follow him on all different platforms there. You can also follow all of us on our social media there. I'll put the Discord real quick before we, and of course it's going to flash right there. Follow us on Discord. We're growing our Discord. We want to continue to grow it because we might put the AEW PLE's pay-per-view there to watch along with us so we could all grow. But I need an audience to do that. Also on our Instagram, follow myself. You got Rain. She's part of our channel. PGA Chris, of course. Hey, it's Canary. And of course, Chef Dan on all of us. And you know where to find us. We'll be on tomorrow. We got a great interview with Janai Kai. We also, we're going to air that. Then we got a watch along. Chris's Steelers trying to win the AFC North title against the Ravens. I'm going to go back, do the watch along, do the play-by-play like I usually did with the Giants and Jets. I'm going to get back into that. And of course, we appreciate it. Final thoughts here. This was a week that proved something very important, guys. Right, it proved that wrestling isn't just rebuilding; it's reasserting itself here in 2026. Whether it's with SmackDown, TNA, NXT, with call-ups and so forth, AEW, rebranding with AJF, it's reasserting itself here in 2026. From Randy Orton's return, from Giulia, rising, winning two-time champion, Drew forcing Cody into, you could say, the breathing down his neck at the fight of his life. Everything accelerating week after week, show after show. The biggest shows are still ahead of us. And that's just the tipping point of 2026. And if you want headlines, just scroll. If you want perspective, you're in the right place. This is the Sports Jedi Network, BX Sports Jedi Kev, Samuel Lyons from the Hello Media. And we'll see you next time here, man. Thank you for all the viewers, all our partners, all that support the Sports Jedi Network on all our different platforms. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure to like, share, and we'll see you guys all on the next broadcast. May the sports be with you. May God bless you all. We'll see you next time.